Chapter 16. Hi, Ion. What are you doing now? Same thing I was doing the last time you called. You're still in bed? Yes, but I've turned it into a little makeshift office. So technically you're calling me at work, so I can't really talk. Call me tomorrow. Don't hang up, I need to talk to you. Michael, it's 9:40 in the morning and you've already called me 6 times. Nothing new happens. It's 9:20 and I can't get any work done if you keep interrupting me. I say, clicking off the TV. Zoe, you're obviously suffering from depression and exercise is the best thing for you. I want you to get up and take a walk. I mean it. You'll feel better. How do you expect me to do something like that? I don't own any walking shoes, and besides, I have a virus. I don't want to infect the other pedestrians. If you can get up to answer the door for food deliveries, you can put on any pair of shoes and take a walk. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be in the 70s. How would you know? You're miles away. I read the paper, which gives me all kinds of global information. Don't believe everything you read. It looks like rain. Zoe, I mean it. If you don't get out of that bed, I'm going to call someone to come over and physically take you outside. Is that what you want? What I want is to watch TV and for you to stop bothering me every 5 minutes. Besides, there's no way you can find someone who can lift me. You're watching TV on a Friday morning? Look, Zoe, you need to see a doctor and you need to get up and move. Are you listening to me? For your information, I have a doctor's appointment all set up for this Tuesday. Seriously? Yep. Wow, that's great. I'm so proud of you. All I did was make a phone call. It's not that big of a deal. People call people all the time. I'll speak to you tonight, okay? It was an important phone call, and I'm glad you made it. I'll call you in a few hours to see how you're doing. No kidding. What's he so worried about? That I'll fall asleep, roll off the bed, out the door, down 10 flights of stairs, and into a busy intersection? I haven't moved more than 3 inches in the last 2 hours. Oh, good. Teletubbies is on. As soon as I hear the doorbell, I instinctively jump out of bed, although I don't remember ordering anything as yet. Maybe they just come automatically after a while. I look through the peephole and see that it's Alex and open the door. She looks beautiful as usual, hair in a high bouncy ponytail, bony wrists with her tiny gold watch, perfumed sweater and a tiny white camisole underneath which shows her collarbone. She's femininity personified. It's a wonder her true self never seeps out. I feel around for my collarbones, but they're completely submerged. Hey, what a nice surprise. What brings you here on a Friday, I ask. I'm so happy to see her. She's never been to my apartment. I wish I'd known she was coming, though. I would have straightened up and adjusted my hat. What's that thing on your head? She asks. It's what keeps me from offing myself. Fine, but just so you know, it looks ridiculous, and I can't believe how fat you're getting. Thanks, but you just saw me a few days ago. I couldn't have gained that much weight in a few days. What's the garbage bag? Well, truth be told, Ruth wasn't so quick to let my brother in her apartment. After all, but he finally got himself in last night after agreeing to respect her in the morning. So I guess it's safe to assume she's no longer a virgin. And the good news is, she says while taking everything out of the bag, I have the contents of your hard drive on a disk and a whole bunch of sweat socks that he assumed were yours because they have your name on them. There are about 20 pairs here. Why someone would keep 20 pairs of sweat socks in her office is a puzzle in itself, especially these socks. Why Ruth chose to steal them is anyone's guess as well. My socks! I've been looking all over them. I've had these since camp. I keep a lot of them in my office because I have a fear of running out. I realize it's an irrational fear, and he found these really weird photos of Chloe, she continues with a little shrug. I take the photos from Alex and turn them right side up. There are 5 photographs here of Chloe in bed with a man. Oddly enough, the man is wearing a suit, and it looks like he's sort of lying down, but if you turn the photos sideways, he's actually reclining in a standing position. Chloe's head is right next to his, except she's staring into space as if there's nobody there. In another one of the photos, she's jumping on the bed with her arms and legs out, and the guy is in the exact same position, lying on the bed next to her, with his suit still on. What the H are these? I asked. It's hard to say, but I think we should find out. And is that a cartoon I hear from coming for the bedroom? I thought I'd turn that off. Why would Ruth or anyone, for that matter, go to all this trouble to make it look like Chloe and this person are in bed together? I can think of a number of reasons why someone would want to get your sister in trouble, but whoever retouched these photos needs to brush up on her Photoshop skills. The only thing someone might surmise from looking at these is that Chloe and this man weren't even in the same room when they were taken. I just can't picture Ruth having the wherewithal to coordinate a project where there was cutting and pasting involved. What else did he find? Nothing really, she says. Aside from these, she casually hands me another manila envelope as she heads toward the bedroom. But when he said her apartment was actually pretty nice. Is this the show where the giant fur babies talk to each other? I thought they took this off the air, she asks, sitting on my bed. Ruth has a nice apartment. I pictured it covered in leopard with lipstick smeared all over the walls. It probably was. You just described my brother's taste perfectly, so I hate to ask you this, but don't you think it's a little creepy that you're sitting here watching kids shows all day in that hat? Creepy how? I ask as I slide out the contents of the envelope onto my bed, revealing 4 8x10 glossy versions of the same hairy girl who appeared on our launch cover and 2 copies of the original Slut article. Wait a minute, this is a little over my head. Ruth, the woman we have seen fall flat on her face in the cafeteria, had my hard drive and these cover photos and my original article and those ridiculously retouched photos of Chloe, not to mention my socks? How could she possibly even get her hands on this stuff? The woman is half plastered 90% of the time. I have no idea, but check these out, she says, pulling a handful of hair clips out of her handbag. As soon as I see the hair clips, I feel my eyes filling up again. I'm as confused as you are. I never expected him to find this much stuff. It would be absolutely impossible for her to have pulled off every single one of those stunts alone. Maybe she just goes around to everyone's offices collecting things for her scrapbook. Here's what I think. There's a definite possibility that she may be at least partially responsible for the photos of Chloe. She's always hated Chloe, and no one else could possibly edit the photos this poorly unless they were drunk. Although I still can't see why she'd bother. I'm pretty sure she's completely over Chloe. Also, I think she may have something to do with the hair clips because she's always complaining about her hair, and I think it bothers her that no one else falls out in clumps the way hers does. And these were planted all over the building a few years ago. She was a lot peppier back then, so who knows? On the other hand, I don't really see you as a direct threat to her either, so why would she care what you look like or how long you'd stay away from work with your hair got caught off? I'm not staying home because my hair got caught off. I had a virus, a very serious virus, I say, pulling my hat down on 3 sides. Whatever, I don't think she's responsible for the cover shots either, because that sort of thing is way over her head, and I'm pretty sure she has nothing to do with the Slut article revision, because she can't write in full sentences. I think Blair is the culprit in both of these cases, and she's very close with Ruth. Always has been, so there's an excellent chance that she asked Ruth to either hide or destroy the article and covers for her. Of course, Anita is an even more likely suspect for all these crimes because she's been out to get you and Chloe from the start. And she has a few hair issues of her own, but I can't imagine her being stupid enough to trust Ruth to hide her evidence, nor, as Dan pointed out, would she ever do anything to hurt her profits. Therefore, Anita couldn't possibly have anything to do with that cover. And then there's always Amanda, who has full access to your office at all times and who has recently become Anita's new best friend. They're together constantly lately, and since she's smarter than all of them put together, we have to take her into consideration. Well, you really thought this through. However, something like adding the names of girls who slept their way to the top is something Anita's been known to orchestrate in the past, and even though it was obvious that Blair was responsible for that one, lately I've been thinking that Anita might have put her up to it. Really? Oh yeah, she loves gossip. She's been trying to turn Issues into a gossip magazine for years, but Dan won't let her. Every now and then she manages to slip in a little dirt, and then they have a huge fight about it. That article has her name all over it. I'm surprised I didn't realize it sooner. I'm with you, Detective, but what about my socks? That's a tough one, I agree, but Ruth's been known to swipe other people's shoes in the past. I guess she decided to move on to socks. I think I remember Chloe telling me she once caught Ruth trying on an extra pair of shoes that Chloe had left in her drawer. Now, the hard drive was definitely a joint effort, Alex continues without missing a beat, because Ruth isn't particularly technologically inclined, but as we know, Blair and Sloan could easily have gotten maintenance to do the job for them, and Amanda could have easily helped them with that one. My instincts tell me that it was a 3-person job. They decided to hide the evidence in Ruth's apartment for now. You're good. I'm pretty good, but not good enough. I still can't figure out why Ruth had all the loot. Okay, but please don't say loot ever again. Sorry, it's hard not to use the right lingo. My headache is coming back. Do you want to watch Family Guy? I taped it. It's really funny. The baby's a snob, so I've heard. Maybe we need to get you out of this room for a little while. That would be good, but I can't go anywhere. I think this virus may be agoraphobic, although Michael thinks it's depression, and I can't even repeat what my mother thinks. I doubt you have anything. Are you kidding? Do you have any idea how many things are wrong with me? I can't even think straight, I say, while thumbing through the photographs of the launch cover and the ones of Chloe lying next to the man in the suit. No one would believe this stuff, Alex says, picking up the first page of my original Slut article. I know, and the thing that bothers me even more than the fact that the entire editorial department is working against me full-time is how my sister got settled with the absolute worst mother-in-law on the planet. I say, holding up the photograph of Chloe jumping on the bed. Somehow I think Anita had something to do with these photos, don't you? She does hate your sister, but it seems like such a waste of her time. As soon as I'm better, I'm going to write an article on mother-in-laws. I want to open that bag of worms right away before Anita has a chance to get her claws any deeper into my poor sister's skin. I think you should be worrying more about your own problems with Anita at the moment. I'll take care of Anita. She doesn't scare me, but I might not always be around to take care of Chloe, and I need to nip this in the bud for her. before I totally fall apart and become useless to everyone. You're not going to fall apart. You're going to get better. You just need some vitamins or something and maybe a personal trainer. And who's sending you all these packages? She asks, pointing to a little collection of small brown unopened boxes crammed into a corner behind the TV. Infomercials. Seriously, you didn't by any chance buy the Ultimate Chopper? I did. I also got Proactive and Bare Minerals. I've wanted Bare Minerals for so long. Let's open it. I don't want to. I'm returning it. Why? It blends naturally with your own skin. I heard it's really messy. From who? Who do you even talk to? And what's the point of buying the stuff if you're not even going to try it? Let's open it. If you don't like it, we'll return it. We'll just mark the reason for the return as too messy. I finally gave it and let her try it because she's so desperate. I always picture her on Christmas morning as a kid with no presents. I'm this close to giving her my Ultimate Chopper, but I really want it in case I ever learn to cook. Alex rips open the box and neatly stacks all the tubs and tubes until she comes across the video. She's really enjoying herself. Can we watch the video? She asks, organizing little towers of blushes and powder. She's totally in awe of the packaging. It's breaking my heart. You can if you want to, I say, hoping she'll lose interest. You don't want to watch it? Don't you want to learn the proper way to dip, tap, and swipe? Not really. I'm missing The Simpsons. Is there any way you would want to watch that instead? Definitely not, she says. She walks over to my closet and comes out with a small standing mirror that I didn't even know I had. She puts in the DVD and sits down on the bed cross-legged with all her minerals lined up beside the box top, which she's using as a little tray. Then she turns to look at me. Now pay attention. I'm going to press play. I can't believe you're falling for this, I say. You bought it, she answers, which is true, but at least I knew enough to want to return it as soon as it came. If you're not interested, why don't you go run around the block or something? You're so out of shape, Zoe. Really, go. You just want to leave, so I don't see how bad you are at putting on makeup. You can watch if you want, but I think you should spend the time more productively. Go take a shower or do some sit-ups. As soon as the DVD starts playing, the phone rings and Allie turns it off. It's Michael. Listen, I was thinking, let's get married, he says before I even have a chance to say my usual, who is this? If that's so important to you, I promise I'll take a walk first thing tomorrow morning. You don't have to go in the trouble of marrying me just so I'll have to make my way down the aisle. Zoe, I want to get married. So get married. I want to marry you and I want to do it the right way. I think it's crazy to wait. Why all of a sudden? I ask. Is that Michael? Alex asked. Is someone with you? Michael asked. Yes, Alex is here. She came over to harass me. So I want you to think about this, Michael says. I have thought about it. You know how I feel about marriage. It's just fastest form of crowd control, designed to cut the population in half and rob individuals of their ability to think for themselves. We can create whatever kind of marriage we want. What's he saying? Alex asks. I hold the phone out so she can hear. Zoe, you know it's the right thing to do. We have to face it sooner or later. Hold on a minute. I know what this is about. You think I'm pregnant too? I can't believe this. OMG, he's right. That's why you're so bloated, Alex says. I continue holding the phone out so she can hear. I never said I thought you were pregnant, but if you are, and even if you aren't, I think it's time we start creating some sort of structured home life. We can't go on living without any sort of plans of the future. Or furniture, Alex whispers. Alex picks up a picture of Michael that's leaning up against the wall. It's a black and white photo that's taken of him at the beach. No shirt, just the body with the ripped abs and the perfect face and the windswept hair. He's very tan and there's a tiny bit of sand on his arm. His face is turned to the camera with an expression that says, I don't feel like having my picture taken, but for you, anything. It's an amazing shot of him. I can't even look at it. This is Michael? Alex asks, tilting the photograph in her head. He doesn't really look like that. I whispered with my hand over the phone. Michael, we've been over this a million times. You can't expect me to just marry you out of the blue because you're wording it differently. We hardly know each other, and you travel all the time. You've never even met Alex. Zoe, I've known you for 5 years, and we've lived together for over a year. Believe me, I know you. Trust me, you don't. The conversation goes around in circles until we finally hang up with nothing resolved. When I put the phone down, Alex asks, I forgot to tell you, you made the worst dress list in the magazine. Seriously, who else made it? Just you and Try. Try? Are you kidding? He's the best dresser in that whole magazine. When you're on the worst dress list, that's your first clue that you're probably not the best judge. But he had those amazing boots I wanted so badly, and the black jacket with the hairy buttons. True, the buttons fashioned from human hair were something of a novelty, but the last few weeks he's taken to wearing a kilt and a mink stole. Guys look great in skirts. Again, not your call. I actually miss him. I bet he misses me too. I should call him one of these days. Don't bother, he's in the midst of coming out and probably wants to be left alone. Try is gay now? I've only been gone a couple of days, and I thought he was in love with Chloe. People change. Just like that? Apparently, she says, looking at me accusingly. Whatever, I can't think about this stuff anymore. Are you sure you don't want to watch something with me? How about Suze Orman? Is she on now? No, but I bought the tapes. How did they come up with the worst dress list anyway? Blair and Sloan put a suggestion box under the receptionist's desk to keep the voting anonymous and keep Dan from finding out. They do it behind his back every year, and every year he freaks out when he realizes they did it again. It's amazing what you can get done around here if you know the right people. So what you're saying is that they managed to slip by the type director you personally appointed, the ex-type director. He's since been replaced. Impressive. That's nothing compared to what else I have to tell you. Does it involve me winning any more awards? Nope, it involves a plan that I've devised to finally repay Blair and Sloan for all this, she says, pointing to the stuff strewn all over my bed. What about Ruth and Anita? I can't be bothered with Ruth. She hardly has any fight left in her, and there's nothing I can do about Anita. It's her magazine, and it's Blair and Sloan I'm after at the moment. I realized Dan was right when he said that firing them during our relaunch is probably not in our best interest, and as much as I've spent my whole life trying to rise above girls like Blair and Sloan, it's time for them to get a taste of their own medicine. I'm not sure I want to hear this. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt them. I simply arranged a little double dating assignment for my brother, that's all. He really comes in handy, doesn't he? I say, looking down at myself to see what I'm wearing. So, what's your plan? Well, his first assignment is to go out on a date with Blair. He'll take her to this really cool restaurant downtown, where he knows everyone, and he'll introduce her to all his friends as someone special. Then he'll take her to his friend's loft, where a bunch of models will be hanging out, and when all the girls start hitting on him, he'll walk over to Blair and put his arms around her. Then he'll helicopter over to my beach house, which he'll pretend it is his, and in the morning they'll have the mandatory champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries and sex on the beach. Sadly, their date will end there, because that is when he'll tell her that he has to meet his investment banker for lunch because he's planning to buy the Chrysler building, and he doesn't want to hold up the deal simply because he might be falling in love. Then he'll helicopter her back, deliver her to her door, and get Sloan, who he'll have met 2 days before, while accidentally bumping into her in the cafeteria. You have a beach house? Yeah, but I never use it. It's just an investment property. So then what? So then he'll knock on Sloan's door and tell her he's been thinking about her nonstop ever since he bumped into her, and he can take her out for brunch. She'll agree, and off they'll go to the airport. They'll fly to L.A., stay in the Beverly Hills Hotel, have brunch at the Ivy next day. They'll spend the rest of the day out by the pool. He'll have brought her a new bikini at the gift shop. He'll arrange for her to get a pedicure out by the pool. Then they'll fly back home, and it will be because he's meeting to discuss building a promenade from Manhattan to New Jersey with shops and restaurants that he's seriously thinking of naming Sloan's Way. He'll drop her off at home, tell her he's fallen madly in love, and then he'll probably go home and sleep for 24 hours because he gets the worst jet lag of anyone I've ever known. When he finally wakes up, he's going to send them both flowers, but he'll put the wrong name on each card. At that point, I've instructed him to go find Courtney. He's agreed to reduce his debt by 15% simply by maintaining some sort of relationship with Courtney for at least 3 months, which should be no problem because he pretty much fell in love with her when he met her in my office with Ruth that day. You're sick. You worked this whole thing out all because there's the way they've been treating me? Really, Alex, you didn't have to do this. It was the least I could do. And truthfully, I did it for myself, too. Somehow all of this is such a painful reminder of what I went through as a kid. Seeing you go through it as an adult is just too much for me. I can only sit back for so long. I'm still the same girl I always was, except now I have the means to even the score. I tried to outthink the girls who were mean to me when I was little, but for some reason they were always ahead of me. I couldn't think like them, so I couldn't defend myself, but now I can. But after this assignment, I have to get my brother another job. He's having way too much sex. He's getting on my nerves. By now she's opened all the little tubs of makeup, and she's absent-mindedly brushing them all over her face and legs. She knows less about makeup than I do. That's not for your legs, I tell her. So when are you going to agree to marry Michael? She asks as she continues to color her knees. You can't tell from that picture, but he's a Republican, I say. You're right, you can't tell at all, she says, dipping the contouring brush into the glow bronzer and brushing it on top of her shoes. You're getting that brush dirty, I say, so you're not going to use it, but now I can't even return it, so I'll just keep it then. She looks up at me. It looks like she rubbed mud all over her chin. That's not the right color for you. Too dark? She asks. Go look in the mirror and you tell me. When she's in the bathroom, she yells out to me, You know, I hate to bring this up, but I can't start targeting potential advertisers for the July issue until I know what we're doing. Were you serious about the mother-in-law idea? Absolutely, but I'd like to save that one. I think we should lighten things up for a bit for the next couple of months. I've been working up some ideas for the next few days, but I haven't come up with anything really special. I know something will come to me, but so far everything I write sounds so blah. Maybe I'm just being too hard on myself. Without even seeing anything you've written, I'm sure that's exactly what's happening. You're always too hard on yourself. Let's hear some of your ideas. I bet they're great. I hesitate for a minute because I really don't think they're that good. I'm always so distracted by the TV lately, it's so hard for me to concentrate on anything else. I open my laptop and force myself to call them out to her. Okay, ready? Yep. Okay, the first are somewhat of a departure from my usual stuff, but I guess they're still empowering on some level. Just read them already. Okay, here we go. Fun and easy recipes for a rainy day using bread. How to make a decorative placement using unusual and unique items commonly found around the house, such as pieces of cloth from your discards, old playing cards, mottled feathers, if you have a bird that is, and colorful pencil shavings. All you need is a laminator and your imagination. How to get started buying stocks. They're not good, are they? I call out. Read me a few more, she says. Okay, how to make $1 million in real estate with no money down. I give them a toll-free number with this one, but I won't bother to read it now. Thanks. What? Nothing. Keep reading. Really? Okay, let's see. This one is pretty good. How to learn a foreign language in 10 days and land your dream job as an interpreter or legal aid or other job of your choice. Alex isn't saying anything, so I walk over to the bathroom and open the door. She's still washing her face. What's the matter? I ask. Nothing. Why? I was expecting you to say something. Like what? Like whether you like them or not. Never mind. I knew they weren't good. They're not bad. The one about making a placemat out of the bird was my favorite. I knew they were terrible. Read me the one again about the bird. When she comes out of the bathroom, her face is all blotchy from scrubbing it, and from trying not to laugh, she packs up the bare minerals and goes to the kitchen to look for something to eat. If you want to eat something, we have to order in, I say, avoiding any discussion about the fact that she thought my ideas were comical enough to cause her face to discolor. It's almost as though you had a lobotomy, she says. I'm pretty sure they stopped giving those. We sit down and try to think of some article ideas that are more in keeping with the theme of the magazine, but I can't concentrate. I'm too hungry. We order a pizza, even though I thought I already ordered one this morning. Within 15 minutes, my new friend Harold shows up in a large pie and a big friendly smile on his face. Hey, Harold, I say. How's it going? Not bad. How's my girl today? Good, good. Did you miss me? Alex looks at me as though I've said something very stupid. Little does she know, Harold and I have a little system. So, Harold, how many deliveries do you have after 9? I ask, leaning against the door jamb and unbuttoning the top few buttons of my flannel shirt, revealing my dark cleavage, which, as I gaze down, is starting to look more and more like Not that many, he says, all drooly at 19. Alex walks over to stand between us. I never realized how annoying she is. Between this and her overblown dating scam, I'm starting to think she's a little overly protective. Alex, can you excuse us, please? What the H are you doing? She whispers. I'm getting us more pizzas. Now leave me alone, I say, stamping my foot with the fake smile still plastered neatly on my face. So, Harold, would you say you have somewhere in the vicinity of 2 or even 3 pizzas to spare? That depends. How many do you want? He asks. All of them, I say, touching his nose with one dainty outstretched finger. You're sick, Alex says. He does have a lot of pimples, I must admit, but I'm starting lately. As soon as he steps away to get the pizzas, Alex makes some remark about how she can't believe I didn't at least throw the proactive into the deal. Obviously, she has no experience seducing pizza delivery boys. Harold comes back with 3 pizzas. I pay him lovingly, and he leaves. We sit down on the floor, and I take a slice out of the first box and hand it to Alex. I stack the rest of the boxes on my lap. One of these days, Harold is going to get the wrong idea, don't you think? Michael's coming home in a few days. From then on, whenever I order a pizza, I'll just hide in the bathroom or something. You're disgusting. I can't believe you would flirt with some pimply kid for a free pizza when you have a guy who looks like that begging you to marry him, she says, pointing at Michael's picture. I know, but I couldn't live with myself if I actually ordered 3 pizzas, and Michael isn't as great as you think he is. He's getting more and more conservative by the minute. I can already picture my life if I marry him. Kids, a minivan, nosy neighbors, pie-eating contests. I think you might want to hurry up and get used to the idea of having kids. She tries to take the top box away from me, but I hold on tight. Somehow she manages to slip her hand in and takes another piece. I'm not. What's wrong with everyone lately? Haven't any of you ever seen a fat person before? If I were, my stomach would be bigger than the rest of me, don't you think? Not necessarily. Some women carry in the back. Ah, so that explains why so many babies are delivered by liposuction these days. I'm just saying there's an excellent chance that you're pregnant, even though you don't actually look pregnant in the traditional sense. Believe me, I'm not the type. I just can't stop eating. Everyone looks a little when they're fat. That's true, especially pregnant people. I can't believe we're even having this conversation. It's absolutely ridiculous, and besides, I have a million other things to worry about. Like the fact that you need to come back to work. Alex asks, Alex, you know I can't come back. Look at me. Plenty of fat people work, Zoe. I mean, look how sick I am. Well, it just so happens I think I found a way to make you feel better, she says, trying to get comfortable with her back against the wall. I should really buy a chair. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a little business card. I found Veet Place for extensions. This guy is supposedly a genius. The hair guru for ladies who lunch, she says, tightening her pin straight, and I don't have a Semitic bone in my body ponytail. Blair was telling everyone about him the other day. Apparently they all got themselves appointments already. She hands me a card that says, Leonardo and you in curly gold script. Would you stop referring to my sickness as my hair? And what exactly about this place made you think that I would ever go there? I asked, turning the Frau card over in my hand, flicking it across the room. I don't know, maybe the fact that you can walk in wearing a ski cap and walk out with perfectly straight hair down to your waist. I get up and get to the card I so recklessly flung across the room and sprint to the phone. Chapter 17. I'm so sorry, Miss Rose, but I don't have you in the book. Then look in another book because my appointment's definitely for today. We only have one appointment book and you're not in it. Is it possible you scheduled for next Tuesday? Yes, it's possible. If the receptionist wrote it down wrong, can I see that book? I ask, and grab it off her desk. That's funny, I'm not in there. I toss the book back into her desk and go sit down. Excuse me, would you like to reschedule? Because I'm more than happy. What for? I ask. I'm in a really bad mood. I hope it doesn't show. Well, it's just that if you'd like an actual appointment, you're going to need to schedule one. I have an appointment. Someone just neglected to write it down. But don't worry, I'm not mad or anything, and I won't tell the doctor if that's what you're worried about. Just squeeze me in whenever there's a little lull. I'll just be over here napping. I look around. There are about 30 pregnant women staring at me. Most of them are scratching themselves, and I can't look, so I close my eyes. The receptionist wakes me up by whispering my name over and over again until I can't take it anymore. What? The doctor will see you now, she says. I'm sorry, but can you wake me up for like 15 minutes? Miss Rose, the doctor was kind enough to squeeze you in. You might as well take the appointment if you're going to lose it. How long was I sleeping? I asked. 3.5 hours. You made me wait 3.5 hours? My gynecologist, Dr. Stacy Luden, is an obese woman with a big sloppy smile, short greasy hair, and a little mustache just around the corners of her mouth. The only reason I go to her is because she's so physically unappealing. I'm not embarrassed to show her my vagina. So, Zoe, how are you? Do you really want to know? I really want to know, she says, smiling. You'd think God would have made her beautiful, but oh no, he decided to design the most hideous face he could think of for the nicest person in the world. Well, for starters, I'm a little itchy, I say, revealing the scabs on my thighs. I think I'm losing my memory and a good deal of my mind as well. My vision is sort of blurry, my gums hurt. I'm also very tired and irritable, and lately everything sort of smells funny, particularly certain people. I'm also under a tremendous amount of stress at work. In fact, I didn't even go the last couple of days. I just stayed home and ate. Oh, and I need to have sex at least 3 or 4 times a day. Let's get a urine sample, and then why don't you come back in here and step on the scale so we can get a weight on you? In the meantime, when was your last period? I wasn't even halfway through my list of symptoms. I could have anything for all she knows. I have no idea. I stopped keeping track a long time ago. It's always been so erratic. The last time I came to see you, I was because I hadn't had my period for more than a day or 2 in years. Then I stopped getting it altogether. I remember, she says, looking at my chart. So have you had a period since you came to see me last? I can't remember. How long was I there? Let's see, your last visit was January 27th, 2001. And what month are we in now, if you don't mind me asking? She hands me the cup with a sympathetic smile. I go to the bathroom to pee in it. I try to pee as daintily as possible. Within 2 seconds, the cup overflows, and I have to spill some out so the nurse won't think I'm manly. I head over my urine sample and lie down on the table for my exam. After what feels like a minute or two, my own snoring and the sound of Dr. Luden's voice wakes me up. Zoe, you need to wake up now. Dr. Luden, what are you doing here? I ask, looking around. I work here, she says good-humoredly, and you and I need to have a little talk. Get dressed and meet me in my office. What about my exam? You slept through it and passed with flying colors. On my way home in the cab, I call Michael, and then Chloe, and then my mom, and then Alex, and just before my battery runs out, I call Harold, but then I call back and cancel my order. I don't feel very well. Chapter 18. How can this be happening? Kids hate me, I say, waking myself up. I can't believe how long I must have said that. I look over at Michael, pretending to be asleep with a big grin on his face. Stop looking so happy, I say, and punch his arm. He pretends to be really hurt him and jumps all over me. I'm sorry, Zoe, but I am happy. This is great news. We're going to be a family. He takes my face in his hands and kisses me. How could you kiss me at a time like this? You're so insensitive. I love you and we're going to have a baby, so what about me? What about the fact that I didn't plan this or even want this? I feel like you tricked me into it. I don't think so. You're the one who wants to have sex constantly. Just go along with it to keep you quiet. He turns on his side and leans on his elbow to face me, but I refuse to look at him. Zoe, listen, I think you did want this. Otherwise, you would have prevented it from happening. He puts his hand on my stomach, so I bat it off, and he puts it right back in the same exact spot. I let him leave it there this time, only because his hand is warm and who knows, maybe the baby likes him. I just thought since my periods were messed up, I wasn't really a candidate for this sort of thing. Really? You thought that? Then why did you keep a case of pregnancy tests in the bathroom? I wanted to be sure, but I ran out of them, and I don't know. Did you discuss this with my mother by any chance? No, why? You ask a lot of the same questions. That's because it's obvious what happened here, Zoe. You never used birth control. That was your choice. I'm allergic to latex. You know that. There are many other forms of birth control. I know, but they don't agree with me. Nothing does. I just didn't think it was possible. I really didn't. Whatever. What's done is done. Hopefully it won't affect my life that much. But what if the baby comes out like you? You keep forgetting that you love me, and yes, there's an excellent chance that the baby will come out like me. And maybe even a little like you. Is that so bad? I mean, it's a risk, but I'm willing to take it. What if it comes out anti-gay marriage and pro-war? All babies are anti-war and pro-gay marriage. So you have nothing to worry about. But what if it's anti-abortion? Zoe! Okay, I shouldn't have said that, but this whole thing isn't right We're too different. We're going to confuse her, and I'm not prepared to give up my life for someone who in 15 years is going to call me a square. No one uses that word anymore. That's what I thought too, but then I heard some kid say it like 2 days ago. Our kid won't talk to us like that, I can assure you. And what if she does? I'll tell him we won't allow that kind of language in our house. I can already stand the way you're raising her. If it will make you happy, I won't talk to him at all, okay? This is what I want, and that's why this is so wrong. I'm so afraid you're going to influence her. That's it, I've had it, he says, getting up. I think it's time you put this in perspective so you can start enjoying it. Let me tell you what your problem is, okay? Your biggest fear is that this poor kid is going to one day grow up and think for himself. You're not worried that he'll think like me. You're worried that he won't think exactly like you. Her, I'm pretty sure it's a girl. Okay, fine, her. The idea is to expose her to everything and let her decide. I exist and I'm not going anywhere. My ideas exist. And there are plenty of people out there who agree with me, and you can't protect her from every single political viewpoint other than your own. Just accept that there is a person and they're not a magazine. You can't impose your viewpoints on her any more than I can, because the first thing we're going to teach her, is how to think for herself, and at the same time, I'm going to teach you both how to be tolerant. Believe it or not, there's more to raising a baby than politics. It's about how she'll feel when she comes home from school and someone made fun of her hair, and how we get her through that. And that she knows she can call us at any time of the night when she's out with some guy who ran out of gas and she has no money because she spent it all on pot and has no way home. That's what it's all about, Zoe. You read my diary. No, I did not. I would never do that. You talk in your sleep all the night. That's how I know about the bills behind the toilet, too. That was an excellent system you had going, by the way. I never knew that about myself. I wonder if our baby will talk in her sleep. I hope so. I hope she's exactly like you. I can't imagine anything better than living my life with you all over again, starting with the day we were born. That's how much I love you, and that's what matters. It's not about who we voted for or anything. I wrote it in those books. It's about hers. It's like us and her, and that's it. Promise you didn't read it? I promise, and I know you believe me. And that's why we're going to get married, because you know who can trust me, and because you love me, but mostly because you can trust me, so that's settled. We're getting married whether you like it or not. Isn't there anything you wish you could change about me before she's born? I wish you weren't such a pain. Other than that, no. As soon as he gets up to go to the shower, I reach under the bed and check for my diary for clues. There are no mysterious fingerprints anywhere, so I put it back under the mattress and resolve to find a better hiding place as soon as I can get up. After his shower, Michael gets back into the bed and props himself up as if he's going to read. Then he reaches under his side of the mattress and pulls out a book. What are you reading? I ask. What to expect when you're expecting. How long have you been reading it? I started a few months ago. You know I was pregnant a few months ago? Not necessarily. You just asked me when I started reading the book, and I told you. Michael, why would you be reading a pregnancy book unless you thought I was pregnant? The truth is I was hoping you were. But you never actually said that you thought I might be pregnant. Honestly, I assumed you knew you were pregnant, but that you were just being weird about it. You're weird about everything, so I just thought, so this is what she's like pregnant. So you went out and bought this book? I pull it out of his hands and toss it out of his reach. I wanted to be prepared, he says, and holds me back so he can reach in front of me and get his little girly book. You wanted me to be prepared? What about me? I grab the book out of his hand and randomly open to page 119 and begin reading aloud. Well, you may be feeling physically fatigue and sleepiness. I need to urinate frequently, nausea with or without vomiting, faintness, dizziness, heartburn, flatulence, bloating, food aversions and cravings, breast changes, clothes begin to feel tight, increased appetite. I don't believe it. I'm a walking cliche. I wouldn't exactly call you a walking anything. Skip to the part where you get a dark line. It starts at your belly button. No, thank you. No, seriously, just do it. Please, I want to die right now. Can you get me a book on what to expect when you're dying? Stop it, Zoe. You should be reading this every month. You read it and fill me in on the good parts. Okay, fine with me. I love this book. Good, at least I don't have to worry about our baby being gay. I'm not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Right now, you look so gay, it's not even funny. Oh yeah, well, at least I'm not the one with the mustache. Believe it or not, this comic turns into a ridiculously careful wrestling match. It culminates in the most amazing sex ever. I guess we're making love for 3 now, sick as that sounds. Chapter 19. Being pregnant and worse, something I need to remind myself never to do again. Every time I get up from a meeting to walk to the bathroom, which is every couple of minutes, I can feel the editors laughing at me. I know I would look comical waddling around here like this, but I would never laugh at someone in my condition. You left your feed bag, Sloane says, as I get up and push my chair in for the 10th time during this meeting. Thanks, I say, grabbing it from her on my way out. Alex has called an emergency damage control meeting while Dan is out of the office. Apparently, we didn't get a very good response from our advertisers to our Wiccans in the Workplace issue. In retrospect, I want to kick myself for not following through with my home crafts idea. I thought the Wiccan theme would grab the attention of an edgier audience and give us a sort of cult following. which would have opened up a whole new world of potential advertisers, but all it did was scare out of everyone and run us even further into the ground. As soon as we started working on the issue, Blair and Sloan started leaving me little presents in my office, such as the horrible little monkey claw I flushed down the toilet, and the little vial of blood they purchased on eBay. When I get back from the ladies' room, everyone is staring at Alex as though she's lost her mind. She's trying so hard to put a positive spin on the mess I've made. I can't even look at her. Everything I've tried at this magazine has been a miserable failure, and I think I smell spaghetti and meatballs if I'm not mistaken. While I was in the ladies' room, I had an idea, I say. That's really great. Can we go now? Blair asks Alex, ignoring me. What's your idea, Zoe? Alex asks, ignoring Blair. I was just thinking that it might be interesting if we take a more psychological approach to our ongoing discussion of girl behavior. Perhaps we could interview some psychologists and lay off the humor for a while. We could focus on a different type of behavior each month and get some real professional opinions on why girls do what they do to one another. The tone of my voice is so tense I have to stop talking before I even finish my thought. I think Psychology Today already tried this brilliant idea, Sloan says. Well, I wasn't suggesting that we copy Psychology Today. My idea was to focus exclusively on girl behavior, as we've been doing all along. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood. So what you're saying is that as a last resort, you'd like to try boring our readers to death. Is that right? Blair asks. Sloan gives her a high five, and I can see Alex is reaching her breaking point. Blair and Sloan are a lot meaner when Dan's not around. The meeting drags on until Courtney raises her hand and offers to read all of her poems. At that point, pretty much everyone excuses themselves and heads back to their respective offices. I would get up too, but I don't really feel like it. As soon as everyone leaves, Alex helps me out of my chair, and I slow my way down to the office after another quick stop in the ladies' room. The days are getting longer and more depressing. With every failed issue, I just wish I could think of something. My phone is ringing. There's no doubt about it, but it's impossible for me to answer it. I'm wedged in so tight behind my desk I have to cut off my circulation. I try to push myself free with my feet, but they're both asleep. Somehow I manage to inch my fingers across the desk and pick up the phone. Another little miracle. It's me, Chloe murmurs into the phone. What are you murmuring? I ask. Please don't tell anyone, but I think I broke both my legs. Okay, I won't tell anyone, but should I call an ambulance? No, I'm fine. I can still walk. It's just very painful. If you can walk, then I'm pretty sure your legs aren't broken. You weren't skydiving by any chance, were you? Of course not. I gave that months ago. You didn't like it? Not so much, no. Did you ever try it? Not really. Where are you now? I'm in Colorado. I flew out here to learn how to snowboard, and then Dan just showed up out of nowhere last night to surprise me. Snowboarding is a very dangerous sport, especially if you're totally uncoordinated. Exactly where are you right now, and where's Dan? He's out on the slopes. He picked up the snowboarding thing right away. He's a skier, so I guess he had somewhat of an advantage over me. That and the fact that he can stand up straight without holding on to anything. Are there patrol guys out there? Has anyone been notified of your condition and whereabouts? What do you mean? Chloe, someone has to get you off that mountain and get you immediate medical attention. You should be on the phone with Ski Patrol, not me. Sorry, I'm in the gift shop. You're not stranded on the mountain in the middle of nowhere? No, of course not. I never even made it to the mountain. It's freezing out. So then, how did you break your legs? Buckling my boots? As soon as I had them buckled, the guy told me to bend my knees and lean all the way forward. So I leaned forward, but I forgot to bend my knees. So I basically fell head first, and then I remembered to bend my knees. So they hit the ground first, and I literally heard them both crack. So what you're saying is that you broke both your knees. Oh, hold on just a minute. That's better. I just straightened them both out. They probably just stiffened up for a few minutes. They hardly hurt at all anymore. That's a relief. I really scared myself for a second there. Are you still wearing the boots? Yeah, I think I might get them. What for? For when I go snowboarding. I should probably get a pair of après ski boots, too. Of all the ski shops I've been to in the past few months, this one has the best merchandise. I really had to do a lot of research for the performance footwear series I'm working on, but after today, I think I have enough to finish the whole thing. What's the latest article about? How Gore-Tex changed my life? Shouldn't it be how Gore-Tex almost maimed me? No, absolutely not. The leg-breaking incident was totally my fault, but you just gave me another article idea. It will be all about how it's important to take responsibility for your own mistakes when it comes to purchasing boots. Remind me to write that down. Anyway, the article isn't really about me. It's about this woman who thinks she's too short. So she walks around in really uncomfortable high heels all the time, even at home. But then she signs up for this hiking, skiing, snowboarding vacation weekend to meet new and interesting people. And even though she's not that athletic, After purchasing her first pair of Gore-Tex boots, she suddenly feels as though anything is possible and she's no longer in pain or wasting all of her mental and physical energy on trying to balance and stay dry, and surprisingly enough, the boots give her just a little bit of height too. The next thing she knows, she's trying things she's been rejecting all her life, because she's always been afraid of how she looks in flats, like snowshoeing, for example. Anyway, one day she's outside hiking up a small hill in her backyard in her new all-terrain mountain climbing boots, and she just keeps walking right through her yard and then right through her neighbor's yard, and to make a long story short, she never comes back. How does it end? She opens her own stationery store. I knew you were going to say that. Really? Dan thought it was a total surprise. Anyway, I think he really likes it. He said if we don't nail anything down for September, he might run it. That's great, Chloe. It sounds very inspiring. As much as I can't believe Dan is willing to publish something like that, I'm still happy for her. I know how much this means to her, and my ideas aren't exactly winning us any awards. He wants you to read it first, though, because it's very different than the articles we've been printing lately. I was hoping to bring it over tomorrow night, if that's okay. We're heading out here in a few hours. I can't wait to get home. We're both dying to see the baby and your new extensions. I don't have either of those things yet. I know you don't have the baby. I want to see you carrying the baby. I haven't seen you in so long. It's not really a baby yet, Chloe. It's still just a bloody wad. See how maternal you're becoming? You don't call it a mucus anymore. You definitely have confirmed hair appointment, though, right? I think so. I mean, of course I do. I'm just not sure exactly when it is. I think you said it was a Saturday. I said it was Saturday? I think so, but you should call to make sure. I'll see you tomorrow night, as soon as I hang up. I dig out the pregnancy book and look up memory loss. Sure enough, here it is on page 187. Continued absent-mindedness. I can't believe how well I'm sticking to the book. It's almost like I'm normal for the first time in my life. Wait, what's this? It says, colostrum's leaking and swollen labia. Well, at least that explains the sensation of sitting on a pair of socks, but I'm certainly looking forward to the day my rest begins spewing. This is all very pretty. I'm trying to figure out what I should wear to see Leonardo when there's a knock on my door and Alex yells, "Let me in." When I open the door, she's all pulled together and ready to go. You're not ready? Your appointment is in half an hour. You're coming with me? I'm not letting you go to that place alone. Can we stop off and eat first? I brought snacks, she says, taking a bag of donuts out of her purse. I wonder if I should get dressed up for this place, I say, trying to estimate how many donuts are in the bag. Yeah, you should wear a dress or something. I'm in the shape of an egg and you're telling me to put on a dress? I can't even picture that. That's because you neglected to buy any maternity clothes. They specifically make clothes in the shape of an egg for people in your condition. Well, for your information, they don't make maternity clothes in a children's size 12. Just wear what you're wearing. I'm in my underwear. Oh, I thought you were wearing some sort of pregnancy exercise clothes. I don't exercise, I just happen to be wearing support hose and a sports bra. 2 sports bras, to be exact. Well, then put a big t-shirt over all that and let's go, she says with her mouth full. She's already eating one of the donuts, and I'm starting to feel uncomfortably possessive of the ones that are left. If she eats another one, there's an excellent chance I might start crying. How many donuts are left in there? A ton. Get dressed. I'm not sure if I look okay or not. Alex isn't very helpful in the clothing department. She wears pretty much the same thing every day to work, and on the weekends she only wears jeans and a white t-shirt. She has 6 pairs of the same jeans and about 1 million white t-shirts. Sometimes she alternates with gray t-shirt, but then it's in terms of variety. I should really develop a foolproof system like that. I can't stand the way she's rushing me, so I tell her to go downstairs and get us a cab while I finish getting ready. I have no idea what to put on here. So I throw on one of Michael's button-downs over my support hose and top it all off with my ballet slippers and a hat. I guess this is good enough. When I get downstairs, she's already waiting for me in the taxi with the door open. It takes me a few minutes to get situated. Once I'm in, I can't reach the door, and she has to lean all the way over to close it for me. The whole situation makes me feel like a big fat baby. As soon as the cab starts moving, Alex says, "You're not wearing any pants." I know, that's what I was trying to tell you. You're the one who said to just put a shirt over what I was wearing. I thought that putting on pants was a given. Well, it's too late now. Doesn't this big shirt make it look like I'm wearing a dress? No, it looks like you're not wearing pants. Who cares? No one will notice. As soon as we enter the doors of Leonardo and you, I notice that everyone here looks like they're dressed for a dinner party. Can I help you ladies? My name is Eduardo. Eduardo looks like a bullfighter in those white pants. This is Zoe Rose. She's here to see Leonardo, Alex says. She's getting a fusion extensions and actually left her pants at home. We're both terribly sorry, she says, trying to sound like we belong here. Don't worry about anything. You're both lovely, Eduardo says, dipping at the knee and offering me his sweaty, perfumed palm to shake. Please come and sit down. Leonardo will be here soon. We're following Eduardo, and I can't help but noticing that Alex is walking like she has 2 wooden legs. Why are you marching? Stop talking, she whispers back. Alex, we're not in school. Shh. Can I get you something to drink? Eduardo asks, rolling his eyes. I can already tell she thinks Alex and I are here by mistake, and he's just playing along. Nothing for me, thank you, Alex says. You wouldn't happen to have a milkshake back there by any chance, would you? I ask. A milkshake? But of course, it's no trouble at all. Just give me a moment, he says, and swishes away with his shiny black hair swinging all over the place. How could you ask him to get you a milkshake? He meant a soda, and how he has to order it. So it's just a milkshake. It's not like I asked him to go slaughter a cow. Asking for a milkshake is almost as ridiculous. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? You're the one with the nervous wreck. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. Since when do you enjoy yourself? I look around the place. It's exactly what I was expecting. Lavish decor, classical music, and every single person here has blonde hair. What a freak show. Chloe always wonders how she'd look as a blonde. I think her coloring isn't quite right, but mine is perfect. I've never admitted that to myself before, but it's true. I see it so clearly now as I gaze in the mirror, tilting my hat to the side. Stop staring at yourself, Alex whispers in my ear. I'm looking in the mirror. That's what it's here for. But you're staring, she whispers. What the H is matter with you? Haven't you ever been to a hair salon before? Of course I have, not like this, though. Well, hello, you must be Zoe Rose. It's wonderful to meet you. And you must be Leonardo, I say. Leonardo is wearing black leather pants, a loosely unbuttoned silk shirt, false teeth, and several layers of self-tanner. He has shoulder-length blonde hair, which he has pulled straight into a little ponytail, and he's obviously had lip implants, a facelift, and all of his body hair, freckles, and accent removed. I must tell you something, Zoe. Your appointment was for last week. We tried several times to reach you, but we never leave a voicemail because we value our client's privacy more than our appointment book. Is this place a secret or something? No, it's just that some women are very private about their hair. Why? I ask, as yet another tall, thin, attractive man carrying a wig in each hand whizzes over to the little old lady with a 50-pound diamond on her finger. Oh, I see, I say. Exactly, he says with a mischievous little grin. Oh, wait a minute. Now I see what happened. My appointment was today. I can't get anything straight anymore. I'm pregnant, by the way, in case you were wondering why I'm dressed so inappropriately. I explain. Oh, congratulations, my dear. This is the perfect time for you to get extensions. You shouldn't have to bother with your hair. You should spend all your time celebrating, she says, nonchalantly slipping off my hat. I can just imagine Leonardo and Eduardo on the Italian Riviera with their tiny bikinis and shaven legs celebrating absolutely everything. Leonardo, come quickly. I just woke up. Oh, congratulations, Eduardo. This calls for a toast. Oh, look at that. I just lost an eyelash. Ah, let's toast again. Everyone here looks so tan and rested. Their lives must be one extravagant party. And here I am without pants. What do you think, he says, looking at my reflection in the mirror. Would you like to be a gorgeous honey blonde? Would I? I think that would be much better for you. Your color is too harsh for your face. A woman in your condition should be glowing all the time. He holds out his arms as though he's preparing to conduct an orchestra. The orchestra that is my new life. I hear our imaginary champagne glasses clicking together in honor of the fact that I will soon be a gorgeous glowing honey blonde. From this day forward, I'm going to live my life differently. I'm going to become more like Eduardo and Leonardo. Every moment will be a celebration. I'm tired of being such a grouch. I look over at Alex being ushered into the room on the other side of the reception area by a man who has Jennifer Aniston's original friend's haircut and who has just offered to wash her hair and give her a blow. She's motioning to me with her head that something is happening a few feet in front of her. I lean forward to see what it is, and right before my eyes are Blair and Sloane in their tall, magnificently leggy splendor. As hard as it is to fathom, they look even more stunning and imposing here than they do in the office. Leonardo rushes to greet them, knowing full well that their presence gives his salon an aura of coolness that money alone can't buy. I can only imagine that it'll detain them for as long as possible, and I hope that they'll take pity on him and let him do their hair for free. As much as I regret that I will soon have to have a conversation with them, I've already mentally calculated the rungs on Leonardo's preferred client ladder. I'll leap as soon as they acknowledge my existence. Zoe, is that you? I can't believe it, Blair says. In the flesh, I answer. OMG, what are you doing here? Sloane asked. I'm getting extensions. So are we, Blair says. I've been meaning to ask you why you cut your hair so short in the first place, Sloane says. I didn't cut it on purpose. I used a hair clip that I found in my drawer that oddly enough doubled as a razor. Are you serious? I thought they confiscated all of those clips, Sloane says. I'm afraid there is one left. I can't imagine what I'd do if that ever happened to me. I think I'd probably kill myself, Blair says matter-of-factly. Oh, I totally would too, Sloane agrees, confirming once again that they are of one mind, particularly concerning matters of life and death. Well, let's not get carried away. It's only hair, I say. If it's only hair, what are you doing here? Sloane asks. I'm fixing a problem, but you just said it's not that big of a deal. So why bother fixing it? She asks, folding her arms. I fix a lot of things that I wouldn't kill myself over. For example, when my shower drain gets clogged, I call a plumber. If he's late for some reason, I don't exactly swallow a bottle of pills. Well, at least you won't have to worry about clogging your drain anymore. They link arms and instinctively walk away on cue. Leonardo is still standing there listening. He calls out to one of his assistants to set Blair and Sloane up at the sink and get them washed. Then he slowly walks toward me. He turns my chair around so we are both facing the mirror, and he whispers in my ear, don't worry about anything. We're going to make you a star, he says. Clink. Leonardo says he'll be right back, and sure enough, he returns a few minutes later with a tray of hair and a full array of colors. I immediately spot the red sections and ask him if he plans to use any of those. These? No. Those are red. He says, we don't want any red. I adore him. Then he points with the back of his long-tipped comb to 3 colors he has personally selected for my extensions. Light honey brown, honey blonde, and golden blonde. Now the question is, how do you want your extensions today, because I can make them stick straight, wavy, or very curly, he says, and whisks off my hat. Look at those gorgeous curls, he says. Why do you wear them so short, he asks. It's a long, sad story, I say, and then proceed to tell him the whole thing, beginning with the outfit I wore to kindergarten. How about if we would transform you into an enchanting mermaid, he suggests. You mean curly? Of course. I will work with your own natural beauty, but I'm getting fake hair. So why bother with natural beauty at a time like this? This might be the only chance I ever get in my entire life to have long, straight hair. I want the straight ones, I say. Listen to me, let me make them curly, and then you can always straighten them at home. Some little man walks over to me with my milkshake, and I reach out to grab it from him before he has a chance to put it down. I take a huge gulp and punch my chest a few times to help it down. Forget the whole enchanted mermaid thing for now, okay? I want straight blonde hair. There, I've said it. Talk about closure. I understand, my darling. Straight it is. Whatever will make you smile, I will do. Thank you, I belch. A few minutes later, Blair and Sloane appear with their wet hair combed out. Leonardo motions for them to be seated several seats away from me, and I can still hear everything they're saying. He snaps his fingers, and 2 little Mexican women appear from behind the sinks. He calls out some numbers that I assume refer to various extension colors and tells them to get on to work with Blair and Sloane. Within seconds, both stylists appear at their sides and begin parting both girls' hair into 12 perfectly symmetrical sections. I imagine these 2 little women painstakingly working with tiny strands of hair for 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I can't help wondering how meagerly the Blairs and Sloanes tip them when they're done. As the stylist begins weaving the extensions into Blair's hair, Sloane announces to her stylist that she'd like something a little more spiky because she's tired of looking perfect all the time. You can't imagine how boring it is, she says to the tiny woman, who will be laboring at her roots for the next 4 hours to earn what I hope is at least minimum wage. Somehow I doubt she gives a crap how it feels to be Sloane. I can hear Blair telling Sloane about Alex's brother Beach House, how incredible it felt to step outside the door only to find herself a few yards away from the water, and how she had the best sex of her life. The next morning she's on the private beach. If she ever drinks another glass of champagne again, she'll just die, and the whole time Sloane is interrupting her with the details of her own boyfriend's plans to build a bridge across the Hudson River with their name on it, and now she can't wait to be invited to dine with. I feel myself dozing off as Leonardo begins working on his comb through my curls, attempting to separate them in some sort of organized fashion. Every time he slides the comb down my scalp, I feel my unruly hair spring back. I stare intently in my mirror, willing them to relax, but they just stare back at me, mocking their own stubborn, willful pride. I finally give up and let myself doze off. I'm no match for them, and I never was. Perhaps I'll listen to Leonardo. When I wake up, I'm still sitting in the same chair, but I'm facing away from the mirror. It takes me a few seconds to realize where I am. I look down at my phone, which is in my lap. It is 6 o'clock at night. How is this possible? I look around. Blair and Sloane are gone, but I immediately spot Alex chatting away with the handsome guy who offered to blow her. But something is different. Alex, what did you do? I call over to her. I know, I can't believe it either. What do you think? She says, rushing over to me. Wow, you're a blonde, I say. So are you, she says, and turns my chair around to face the mirror. There I am with perfectly straight honey blonde hair down on my waist. I look like Lady Godiva, I say. You look fantastic, Alex's new hairdresser says. No wonder she warmed out so quickly over there. What's your name? I ask him. $10, it's Antonio. I'm Claudio, and you have just changed your life. He air kisses me somewhere near both cheeks. Where's Leonardo? I ask. He's in the back room with a client. You've been done for a while, but he refused to let us wake you. I missed everything. There's my sleeping beauty. What do you think of your hair? Leonardo comes running over. Someone should make a ballet out of this place. How did you get my hair so straight? Did you chemically straighten it? No, of course not, my love. I wouldn't do that without your permission. I used a hot iron. He takes one of the hot irons from its little holster and begins wrapping the cord around its base. Take this. It's my gift to you. You're going to need it, he says. Now you are my most beautiful pregnant woman. Next, we must give you a small trim, and you can go outside and show the world your beauty. A trim? Just a little one, I promise, to make the ends more healthy looking. No, please don't touch it. I want every inch of it, I say, flinging it across my back. Alex and I meet Eduardo at the reception area, and he hands us our bills. Mine has 3 zeros, but Alex's only 2. There must be some mistake. I think there's an extra 0 here, I say. Eduardo takes the receipt from me to check it. No, my dear, Leonardo insisted that you get 2 sets of extensions, so next time the second set will be washed and waiting. He only does these for his most special clients. He winks. I can't tell you how flattered I am, I say, and show Alex the bill. She covers her mouth and mumbles, I suggest making a run for it, but I know you'd get caught. I hope you understand. Each took 3 processes to get your hair to match these extensions, Eduardo continues as I rummage through my bag. The amazing thing is that I slept through all $3,000 of them. The other amazing thing is that I can't find my checkbook. I look at Alex and whisper, I forgot money. She hands Eduardo her credit card and says, consider this your first Mother's Day present. I'm totally going to pay you back, I say. Don't be ridiculous. It's the least I can do for you. $3,000 worth of fake hair is the least you can do for me? Look at us, Zoe. When was the last time you felt like this? I never would have come here without you. Believe me, it's worth every penny, she says. When we get outside, it's pouring. I want to take my shirt off and put it over my head, but Alex is afraid I'll get arrested. Instead, she takes off her jacket, holds it over me, and I quickly stuff the hot iron into my pantyhose. Nothing happens to her hair when it gets wet, so she doesn't bother to cover it, but by the time we get a taxi, we're both soaked. Once we're seated in the cab, I look down at my wet, straight extensions and marvel at their beauty. Alex gives the driver our addresses while I feel around the top of my head. Naturally, my own hair is already showing its true character by wriggling itself as far away from the new hair as possible while blowing up like an angry balloon. How do I look now? I ask Alex. Like a jellyfish. Chapter 20. By the time I get in my apartment and run to the mirror, I have a mullet. I take the hot iron and plug it in. It heats up in a few seconds as I mentally prepare myself for the long and tedious process of trying to straighten each one of the little curls. But as soon as I press the first little curl in between the hot plates, it singes into a million split ends. I call Chloe to ask her what just happened. She explains that I have to dry my hair first, or else it's no different than sticking my head into an open fire. I blow dry my whole head and begin the straightening process all over again. It's like a miracle. Each little piece is coming out perfectly straight and laying down absolutely flat against my head. This is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. Once my original head of hair blends in with my extensions, I reach into the shower and get a bottle of shampoo so I can do a shampoo commercial in the mirror. I turn and face the wall and then whip my head around and say, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, I just use what I use. Then I take a second to look at the bottle to see what shampoo Michael's been using these days, and then I pick up where I left off, use Head and Shoulders. I hear the door slam so quickly I throw the shampoo bottle in the shower and walk out to show Michael my new hair. Holy effing, he says, you look like a porn star with that hair. What the edge did you do? A porn star? Yeah, come over here, you little hottie, he says, imitating what I can only assume he thinks sounds like a male porn star. Well, I guess it's safe to say Michael has always had the same fantasy about me being a blonde that I had, but at least I feel ambivalent and guilty and hypocritical and weird about it. He's just blatantly into it. But as much as I resent him for liking the way I look, we end up having sex on a half-crushed carton of old paintbrushes, and somehow afterwards I forgive him. I mean, it's only hair. I should try to at least enjoy it, or what's the point? I take a quick bath and come out of the bathroom in a robe with my hair down. You left that hair thing on? I thought you went into the bathroom to take it off, Michael says. What do you mean, take it off? This hair is fusioned into my own hair. Permanently? No, but for a long time. Why? No reason. I thought you'd like it. Of course I like it. I just didn't realize it was stuck on there, that's all. So what you're saying is you liked it to have sex with, but now you'd like it to go away. No, I did not say that, did I? I just don't think it's you, that's all. I walk into the bedroom and put on my grossest t-shirt I can find so he won't think I'm still trying to look good. I'm contemplating whether or not I should put my hat back on when the doorbell rings. I knew I wouldn't last long as a full-fledged girl. Who was I kidding? Nice outfit, he says as I walk right by him and look through the peephole. It's Chloe. I open the door and her hands fly right to her mouth. Please don't scream, I beg. Are you kidding? Why would I scream? You look amazing as a blonde. I can't believe it. What a transformation. OMG, Zoe, you look exactly like Mom. Seriously? Dan, Anita, come in. Come see Zoe's new hair, she yells down the hall. You brought Anita? I had to. It's a long story. I'll tell you later. Why didn't you call to warn me? I whisper. Please act like you don't care, she says. And go put pants on, Michael says. I go into my room and slip on a pair of sweatpants, but I'm totally disoriented now. I can't believe that horrible woman is in my apartment. The whole night is ruined. And for the first time in my life, I was sort of hoping Chloe would beg me to play beauty parlor. Dan and Anita walk in right behind her. Dan looks exhausted, but Anita looks smashing as always in her little linen outfit and pearl earrings. I hate her. "Zoe, your apartment is marvelous," she says. We both attempt an awkward greeting ritual. It involves a half-hearted kiss on the cheek, and we're both so repelled we're like two pimply high school kids who have been forced to go to the prom together for lack of any other options. She awkwardly hands me the gift she's holding. "What's this for?" I ask. "You're going to have a baby, are you not?" she asks. "Oh, that. Yeah, thanks. It's funny, I was just telling Dan and Chloe you never really looked pregnant until a few weeks ago. I mean, obviously you were gaining weight, but I never would have guessed. I mean, not that marriage is the end all for everyone. I just thought, well, it just so happens, Anita, Zoe and I will be getting married very soon," Michael says, slipping his arms around what was once my waist. "Is that so?" she asks. "That's right," Michael assures her with a flirtatious little wink. I could kill him for even talking to her. It's amazing that he could possibly think we're getting married. "Well, as long as the two of you are happy, who am I to judge?" "It's okay, go ahead and open your gift, Zoe," she says, as though I'm standing here jumping up and down over it. I feel terrible the way we dropped in without any notice, but we ran into a situation this evening because I had to watch my grandchildren unexpectedly for a few hours and my driver was detained when I needed to ride home. I called Dan, assuming he wouldn't mind swinging by to get me, but of course I had no idea that Chloe had plans this evening, and between the three of us we couldn't muster up so much as one fully charged cell phone to tell you we'd be coming. "Why didn't you just call from Dan's sister's apartment before you left, and why the H can't you take the taxi anymore?" Once they came to get me, I didn't want to insist that Dan take me all the way home because Chloe was so anxious to see her hair, which is lovely, by the way. Leonardo, I assume, but I can tell you that I've never one to just drop in. I just thought under the circumstances I might as well tag along. Since all of that was just one big confusing lie, I ignore it and begin tearing the paper off the gift box. I let the paper fall to the floor and then rest the box on my bent knees while I try to open it standing on one leg. Michael tries to help me, but I turn away from him as best I can without dropping the box. I reach in and pull out a glass turtle. "I hope you like it. I couldn't possibly imagine what style you'd chosen to decorate," she says, looking around, "and so I thought, stupid, because after all it goes with everything." "Yes, it certainly does," I say, looking at the turtle, "especially since you can see right through it." Dan coughs and takes his mother by the arm. "Let's have a look around, shall we?" he suggests. "Michael, why don't you give them a tour while I find a place to put our new frog?" I say. "Sure, honey," he says, "but just so you know, that's a turtle." Chloe walks with me into the kitchen, and I immediately turn to hug her. "Zoe, you look so pretty, I can't stop looking at you. How does it feel? I wish Anita wasn't here so we could play with it." "Me too." "What is she doing here, by the way? I couldn't understand a word of that story she was telling," I ask while attempting to hoist myself up to the kitchen island. Chloe gives me a little boost and hops up next to me. She starts explaining to me that Dan's sister suddenly had to go to some meeting at the school, so she needed Anita to watch the children until the nanny came back. As soon as the nanny arrived, Anita and Dan to see if he could stop by and say hello to the kids and then bring her home. Of course, Dan agreed, and then as soon as the kids saw Dan, they started to beg him to take them with him. And then Anita insisted on coming with us, so it just became this whole big family outing. The kids were so excited. The next thing I knew, we all ended up here. I was going to call you, but I wanted Anita to think you're the type of person who enjoys company. Why? I don't know, and besides, the kids were so happy to see Dan, and I get the feeling they don't go out much. This is a huge night out for them. Where are they? They're still downstairs with the nanny. She wanted to spruce them up a bit before sending them upstairs. Are you serious? The nanny is here too? Yes, but she won't stay. She's just here to make sure they're presentable. Then she'll leave. Presentable for what? Dan's sister and the nanny are very strict about their appearance. Did you mention to the nanny there was no need to concern herself with their appearance for this particular outing? The nanny has strict instructions, that's all I can tell you. At that moment there's a knock on the door. I attempt to hop down off the counter, but I'm not sure how to balance my weight. If I lean the wrong way, I could very well end up splattered all over the floor. Chloe helps me down by way of a piggyback ride, but then she can't bend her knees to put me down, so she gives me a ride over the door. "Wow, you must have gained about 20 pounds already," she says, staggering all over the place. 30. Chloe opens the door, and the nanny pushes the two small children through the opening and then backs away as though she's part of a backstage crew. We meet the children and then open the door a little more to tell the nanny to come in, but she's already gone. "How'd she get away so fast?" I ask the kids. I bet she took the stairs, Chloe says, and turns us around to look at the children for information, but neither of them say anything. They just stare up at us as though there's something very wrong with the idea of me being on Chloe's back. She's my sister, I say to clear things up. Nothing. Do you guys ever give each other piggybacks? I ask. Nothing. Put me down, I whisper to Chloe. We're scaring them. Chloe puts me down, and I kneel down so I'm eye to eye with the children. I've never seen two people who so closely resemble Jane and Michael Banks. They even have those same little stiff coats. Can either of you bend? I ask. They just stand there with their bowed arms by their sides until Anita comes over. There you are, my darlings. You both look wonderful. Why don't you go right along now? Where would you like them to run along to? I ask Anita. Set them up in that area over there, she says, waving her hand toward the other side of the loft. You mean the bedroom? There's nothing in there. Can't they stay out here with us? I ask. They can be quite a nuisance, believe me, Anita whispers to me. Go on, children, she says. Run along now. The girl Banks takes the boy Banks' hand, and slowly they begin to walk toward my bedroom until Dan intercepts them. They immediately put their arms up to him. He picks them both up and turns them upside down while they squeal and kick, almost like regular children. Dan puts the children down this instant, Anita says. Why? Dan asks, holding each of them by one leg. The last thing I need is to get them all worked up before bed. It's 8 o'clock, Dan says. I thought this was supposed to be their special night out. Exactly my point. They'll be up way past their bedtime, so it's best to keep calm. I walk over to the two dangling children and ask them if they'd like a sugary snack, but neither of them acknowledge me. They really have no personality at all. Maybe if I try a little harder. How does a great big bag of candy strike you? I ask, and look over at Anita. Still nothing. Don't you remember meeting me at your Grandma Anita's dinner party before Chloe and Dan got married? Remember I gave you both pickles? I ask, begging for recognition. Dan puts them down, and the boy whispers something to the girl. What was that? I say, cupping my hand to my ear. He said you only gave me one pickle. So you only gave me a pickle, the girl Banks says. And he also says he wants to touch your hair to see if it's real. Why? Does it look fake? I ask him. No answer. This has got to be the worst conversation I've ever had. Ask him if it looks fake, I command Girl Banks. She whispers something to him. He looks up at me and he puts 3 of his little fingers right to his mouth. Go ahead and touch it, I say. The boy takes his hand out of his mouth, touches my hair with one little wet finger, then puts it back in his mouth. Oddly enough, his tiny germs don't even bother me. Ask him if it felt fake, I say, and she can't bring herself to do it. What's your favorite color? I ask the boy. Nothing. How do you make this kid talk? I ask the sister. That makes the boy and the girl laugh. Sensing I'm finally winning them over, I'm just about to lift up my skirt to show them the baby when Anita spots me and yells, Children, I thought you were told to go to the other room. They ignore her for a second, but as she walks toward them, they instantly scurry away like white mice. I feel my chest tighten at the sight of them running away from their own grandmother in their uncomfortable clothes, so I follow behind them. When we reach the bedroom, I ask them if they want to play on the computer, but they both shake their head no. How about pencil and paper? No. Want to play hide and seek in the closet? It's empty. They look at each other and telepathically decide against that too. Which one of you is smarter? I ask. The boy points to the girl. Prove it, I say. Finally, the little boy speaks. She can count to infinity. I can see why he avoids talking. He has such a vast array of speech impediments. That would probably take what? Forever, I say. So let's play a game instead. The girl is so excited by this she loses herself entirely and slightly bends her knees with joy. The boy immediately imitates her and does a much deeper, more athletic bend. What kind of game? The girl asks. Want to steal stuff out of your grandmother's pocketbook? How old are you? The girl asks. Almost 30. Why do you ask? Are you suggesting 30 is too old to steal? I think you're pretending. You're right. I was just kidding about the stealing thing. Never steal. You'll go to children's jail where they'll torture you. There's no such thing as children's jail, she says, twisting her dress around. Are you kidding? I know tons of kids in jail. What do they do in jail? She asks, putting her hands on her hips. I already told you. They get tortured, I say. How do they get tortured? The boy asks, imitating his sister by putting his hands on his hips. Don't stand like that, I tell them. Kids are cruel. They'll call you up. Anyway, I don't want to tell you what really happens in jail because you'll have nightmares. Just remember this. Never steal and never kill anyone. That's really all you need to know except for one more thing. What? The girl asks. Never make fun of short kids with red hair. We don't know any red hairs, the boy says. You really need to work on your grammar, I tell him. He's too little, that's why he never talks right, the girl whispers in my ear. What did she say to you? He asks. I almost can't talk to him anymore until I teach him how to speak properly. Are you sure you guys don't want to play a game or something? They both wrinkle their noses and shrug. Don't children play games anymore? I ask. Do you have any gum? The girl asks. You want to play gum? I asked. She walks over to me and whispers in my ear, No, we want to chew gum. That's it? That's all you want to do with your life? Chew gum? Yeah, we both want to chew gum, the boy says. I don't have gum. What about some papaya pills? I chew on those when I feel like I'm going to throw up. Would you like some of those? They both shake their heads. Do you ever jump on your bed? The girl asks. Not that often anymore, I say. I don't want to make the baby dizzy, but you guys can, unless one of you is pregnant. At that moment, Anita tiptoes in. Well, isn't this nice? Honestly, Zoe, don't feel as though you have to entertain the children. They are perfectly accustomed to occupying themselves when the grown-ups are socializing. Isn't that right, children? I wasn't occupying them. We were just hanging out. Remember, you are to touch nothing in this room. Is that understood? She says. We are guests here, and that means we respect other people's property at all times. There's nothing really fun for them to touch in here, Anita, or even play with, I say, looking around helplessly. They'll be just fine, she says, and escorts me out of my own room. I feel terrible. There's not even a picture or a puppy or a box of old jewelry for the little boy Banks to play with. As we're almost out the door, I turn to look at them. They're both sitting on the edge of the bed with their hands folded and little frowns on their faces. As soon as we leave, start jumping, I say. No, thank you, the little girl says, knowing her grandmother would have her immediately arrested for something like that. I don't want to leave them all alone, which is weird because I don't even like kids. As Anita and I walk back to the main area of the loft, everyone is sort of standing around not knowing what to do. This place is really fantastic, Dan says for the 100th time. You know, just the other day I saw this fabulous antique pharmacist cabinet. It would be absolutely perfect for the entrance to your powder room, Anita says. I have an entrance to my powder room? I ask. I was referring to that little nook over there. Oh yes, an antique of some kind would be great, but I've decided not to fill up this place with arbitrary, overpriced objects that were once owned by someone else simply to make it appear as though I've led some sort of interesting life myself, because I haven't. I'm just a girl from New Jersey, so how could I possibly come to own an antique medicine cabinet? I mean, as far as I know, our great-grandfather wasn't a pharmacist or anything. Actually, he was, Chloe says. No, he wasn't, I contradict her. Was he? Grandma said he was. Grandma was a liar, I reminded her. Oh, yeah, Chloe says. I hate to change the subject, Anita interrupts, shaking her head in disbelief, but are you suggesting there's something inherently wrong with antique furniture? You heard what I was suggesting, and yes, I believe there is something inherently wrong with antique furniture for me. For you, it may be fine. I simply prefer not to lie about who I am by attempting to project a false image through my possessions. That's the spirit, Chloe interjects cheerily. Everyone is different. For instance, some people can't wear red. Exactly, I say, and some people would rather not try to pass themselves off as something they're not. Is that why you're wearing someone else's hair? Anita asks. Actually, no, the reason I'm wearing someone else's hair is because my own hair was mysteriously cut off by a hair clip that I found in my desk. I would much prefer to wear my own hair. Lie. Unfortunately, it's no longer available. The fact that I chose to go blonde, however, has nothing to do with trying to pass myself off as something I'm not. It's because Leonardo ran out of brown extensions. Look at that, another lie. It was either blonde or nothing. I had no choice. Dan walks over and put his arm around me. You're right, Zoe. Most of the stuff we buy to fill up our homes is a total waste, meaningless filler. His intention is to get me off the hook, but the term we just ends up sounding like we normal people. Having said that, we walks over to the wall and leans against it, I guess to prove that a wall, in and of itself, is sometimes enough. Then Chloe walks over to me and says a few words about checking on something in the kitchen, and together we pretend we have a very important matter to attend to in there, despite the fact that it doesn't contain any food. She walks right over to the refrigerator, opens it up, and stares. What's the baking soda for? She asks. Michael bought it. I guess he's waiting for me to buy something that will eventually smell. She picks off a chunk of lettuce that's stuck to the shelf and hands it to me. Just leave that there, I say, but it's probably teeming with bacteria. So? Since when aren't you afraid of bacteria? I don't know. I haven't thought about bacteria all day, or sudden death, or rare blood disorders, or even athlete's foot, for that matter. It's like I'm numb. I think it's the hair. I wish I didn't care about bacteria. Dye your hair. It worked for me. I don't care about anything now. Do you hear me lying out there? I never could have done that before. It was so freeing. It was like I could say whatever I wanted, and that's the worst thing that could happen. Someone might call you a liar? Exactly. And just then, Anita drifts into the kitchen to ask if I need help with anything. Like what? I ask. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were preparing something, she says. I am. Dinner will be right out. Oh, how wonderful. I'm absolutely starved, she says, stooping around for signs of food. May I be so bold as to ask what you've got on the menu? She asks. It's a big surprise, I say. And lettuce, Chloe says. Anita's probably really excited about the lettuce. What a great way to finally go off her diet. What's the surprise? Chloe asks as soon as Anita leaves the room. I'm not sure. I guess I'll order it in or something. Whatever. Que sera. Let's check on the kids, I say. They won't even talk to me, Chloe says. I know. They're not great conversationalists, but we can't leave them in there all night. Chloe and I walk over to their bedroom and poke our heads in. They're both asleep on the bed in their unmovable little coats. You can see that they've tried to avoid crumpling whatever papers were on the bed. So they've curled themselves up into two tiny, unobtrusive balls. Why are they sleeping? Chloe asks. It's very boring in my room, I say. Anita isn't very good with them, is she? Chloe says. It's hard for me to believe she's Dan's mother. Yeah, he's so much taller than her, Chloe says, and we tiptoe away and join the group. What do you say we get some dinner going? Michael suggests. Fine with me, I say. What's everybody in the mood for? After a few moments of silence, Michael asks, anyone feel like Chinese? Just once, I'd like him to suggest something else. I think Zoe already prepared something, Anita says. No, I was just pulling your leg there, Anita. Everyone agrees on Chinese, so I take everyone's order. Michael calls the restaurant, and then we all just stand around way too far away from one another. We can't get any kind of real conversation going at this distance, so we mull about silently and collectively pray that the food will come soon, that its arrival will somehow make us all more friendly. Michael and Dan are sitting on the window ledges, Anita is leaning against the adjoining wall, and Chloe and I are sitting on one or two steps that separate the living area from what will one day be the dining room. You should really get started decorating, regardless of your distaste for furniture, Anita says. This place has tremendous potential. Oh, Anita, you're so gullible. I was just joking about that whole furniture thing. To be honest, I've been racking my brain for months trying to get this place decorated. I've been to the D&D building so many times I could probably find my way around blindfolded. I just can't seem to settle on the right theme. I don't know whether to go to bohemian, traditional, contemporary, neoclassical, or just plain good old early American. What are your thoughts? I didn't realize you've been so busy trying to fix this place up, Michael says. Although we did have one chair in here for a while, didn't we, Zoe? We sure did. That's my whole point. I was totally wrong there, theme. And I'm just so afraid to make that same mistake again. That's because it was an Adirondack chair, which is typically used for an outdoor theme. Whatever, at least I'm trying everything. That's the only way to really get it right. Don't you agree, Anita? Maybe I'll just go to Crate and Barrel tomorrow and furnish the whole place in one day. I can't believe I didn't think of that before. I mean, look at us. There's no place to sit, and boy do we need a table. This is some turnaround. I was under the impression that you thought furniture was just another bourgeois conspiracy to oppress other less fortunate apartment dwellers, like cockroaches and mice, because they can't buy things like chairs. It's that whole human dominance thing that she just refuses to buy into, Michael says, hugging me. He would think something like that, wouldn't he? I say to Chloe. You have mice and cockroaches in this place? Chloe asks. No, he's just being sarcastic. You know what I just realized? Bugs never sit down, Chloe says. Actually, birds sit down, I rebound, knowing she probably thinks birds are bugs. Dad walks over to Chloe and puts his arm around her. Anita shivers and says she's going to check on the children. They're sleeping, I say, but she walks out anyway. I guess she'd be willing to do almost anything to avoid seeing her own son show affection toward another human being, even check on her grandchildren. As soon as she leaves the room, we all sort of huddle together and talk normally for a second. What exactly is going on here? Michael asks me. I mean, I'm willing to go along with it, especially if it means we'll be able to finally get some furniture in here. I'm just wondering what you're doing. I don't know, I just feel like lying. I guess it's the hair. I think I'm coming across as a much nicer person, don't you? It's more like someone who's completely lost her mind. It's like the hair found its way into her brain. Hair can totally affect your mood, Chloe explains. I can assure you that's not what happened. She's just using the hair thing as an excuse to mess with Anita. Anita walks back into the room holding something that's caused a dreadful expression to take over the part of her face that still moves. May I ask where you got these photographs? She asks me. Her hands are shaking. She walks over to me and hands me the pictures of Chloe and the man in the suit lying on the bed. I can't very well tell her that Alex's brother stole them from Ruth's apartment, so I do the next best thing. Oh, those? Someone mailed them to me. Is that so? Anita asks, squinting at me. Yes, sirree, I say, and take them right out of her hand. Aren't they great? Look at this one of Chloe jumping. She's a little jumper, isn't she? Chloe takes the pictures from me and begins examining them. OMG, I'm having an affair. It sure seems that way, doesn't it? Anita says accusingly. She takes the photo out of Chloe's hands and gives them to Dan. He takes one look at them and laughs. This is the worst retouching job I've ever seen. The guy looks like a poster lying on that bed. What the H is this? Wait a minute, Chloe says, grabbing the pictures out of Dan's hand. I know this guy. He's a mattress salesman at Sleepy's, but I don't remember him lying down next to me. That's because he never did. Some fool spliced his picture next to yours and reshot it, Dan says, tossing the pictures into the nearest open carton. I think it's pretty safe to assume that Anita was in on this little trick photography stunt. Nothing could be more obvious. She's so agitated and confused, and when the doorbell rings, she nearly jumps out of her skin. It's nice to watch Anita squirm as she tries to figure out how I got the photographs. I wonder when she was planning to present them to Dan and how disappointed she must be that her plan to frame my sister didn't work. I walk over and answer the door, and to my surprise it's Harold. "What are you doing here?" I whisper to him. "What the H did you do to your hair?" he asks, and steps back, holding his chest like he's having a heart attack, looking at me. "I thought you only delivered pizzas." "I got 2 jobs now," he says, moving a little too closely and keeping the bag just out of my reach. "Harold, I have a house filled with guests. Just give me the bag." "You only want 1?" he says, thinking we're going to play our little game. "Harold, cut it out." I say. "What's the matter? You're not in the mood?" he asks, but Michael is behind me with his wallet out before I have the chance to answer. "What seems to be the problem?" he asks, taking the bag right out of Harold's hands. "This is Harold," I tell Michael. "Hey, how's it going?" "It's a pleasure to meet you, Harold." "Oh, wait, I want to meet Harold," Chloe says, running over. Harold leans against the door in anticipation of meeting Chloe, but as soon as she sees him, she just says, "Oh, hi," and walks away. Michael gives Harold a $50 tip, tells him to forget where we live, and slams the door. "Harold has a terrible skin problem," Chloe says. "He's not what I was expecting at all. He does have a lot of lesions." Michael takes me into the kitchen and asks me why Harold isn't what Chloe was expecting. "Look, last month was very bad for me. I was extremely hungry, and I may have led Harold on a bit to get some extra pizzas. Please tell me you're just kidding." "Of course I am," and punch Michael in the arm. "Then tell me what's really going on," he says, and for the first time in my life I don't have an answer. It was obvious that guy felt a little too comfortable here. "I was starving," I say, hoping this is somewhat reasonable defense for seducing a very unappealing pizza boy. Michael starts taking everything out of the bag and going on and on about how I need to start thinking and acting more responsibly and how he misses the old Zoe. Once all the food is set on the counter, we both look at each other. "Are any serving suggestions, Martha?" he asks. He's really mad. I can't blame him. Harold is repulsive by anyone's standards, and it was wrong of me to try and trick him for food. "I totally never did anything," I say. "Zoe, there's no doubt in my mind about that," he says, looking down at my rotundness. "The whole thing is just incredibly dangerous, that's all. You just don't ever do anything like that again. You also might try to keep some food in the refrigerator for emergencies." "I'm totally going to start shopping," I say and flip my hair, and totally stop saying totally. And stop with the hair. "I told you, I can't help it. I keep falling into character." "Well, fall out of character, please." Just then Chloe comes into the kitchen with a serving idea. "What about if I put a big beach towel on the bed, and we all sit around it like it's a table? The children are sleeping on the bed," I remind her. "Okay, then let's just bring all of this over to your neighbor's apartment and, invite them over to share our food in exchange for a place to sit." "We can't do that," Dan says, walking into the kitchen. "Why not?" Chloe asks. "Well, for one thing, it's incredibly rude, and for another, the children are asleep in the other room. We can't just leave them here alone." "Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about them." "We'll be fine right here," Dan says as he starts to open the curtains. "Zoe can sit on the counter, and the rest of us can stand around the island." This is great, actually. He's sticking a set of chopsticks in each carton. "Believe it or not, we do have plates and silverware if anyone is interested," Michael offers as he opens the cabinets. "Oh, don't pull out those old plates," I say. "They look like they belong to someone's dead grandmother. Let's just eat out of the cartons." "That's because they belonged to my grandmother before she died," Michael says, slowly pulling out a few plates. "Oh, Michael, I'm so sorry. I thought you brought them. I never would have called your grandmother dead if I'd known." "Relax, Zoe. I know she's dead. I'm not insulted by it," he says, lifting me up onto the counter. I must weigh a ton. His face is turning bright red. "Can we talk about something else?" Chloe asks. "I couldn't agree more," Anita says. "She's being awfully quiet. I bet she doesn't want to eat the food she's trying to figure out how to get out of it." "What would you like to talk about, Anita?" I smile at her in every single of my teeth. I am so enjoying being nice to people. It's so refreshing. I pick up a carton and start eating out of it. "Let's talk about how Chloe is enjoying her vacation time, shall we?" "Oh, I'm not on vacation," Chloe says, covering her mouth with one hand. So far she hasn't picked up a single kernel of rice without dropping it first and saying, "Oopsie." "I'm on sabbatical, and technically I'm not really on sabbatical either, because I keep getting these amazing article ideas every time I try a new sport. Which reminds me, Zoe, I brought my Gore-Tex article for you to read." "Dan's going to run it," she says to Anita. "Oh, isn't that fantastic?" "I'm so glad you brought it. I can't wait to read it," I say, licking my fingers. Michael hands me a napkin. I give him the same grin I just gave Anita. "I did a little test run on Chloe's article with our focus group, and it was a huge hit. Alex showed it to several shoe-in advertisers, and they're already clamoring for a position alongside the article. I think we've got a winner on our hands, Dan says, looking at Chloe. And you, Zoe, are you planning to go on maternity leave for a few months? Anita asks. Not really. That's too bad. I was hoping we'd have some time to rethink our editorial and perhaps recoup some of our advertisers. I mean, let's face it. We showed a total lack of discretion by writing that article on witches. Or whatever that was. And what was that other dreadful one you wrote? Why girls fall in love with their best friend's bald, fat fiancés? That was just atrocious. How about the one I wrote about the aging rich women who think they can buy back their youth with plastic surgery? I say, tossing my chopsticks into the empty dumpling container. I don't recall any such article, Anita says. It's amazing. I'd say she's immune to at least 85% of my insults. All of the cartons are now empty except for the chicken and broccoli I saved for the Banks children in case they ever wake up. Anita barely put a morsel of food in her mouth, and Chloe only ate rice because she's carbohydrate loading for her white water rafting up next weekend. How could we run out of food so quickly? I hope I didn't eat more than my share. That would certainly put a damper on an otherwise perfect evening. Michael helps me down off the counter, and we begin stacking the empty cartons while Chloe goes and gets a plastic garbage bag from under the sink. We each throw a few empty cartons in the bag while Anita sways back and forth with her hands behind her back. Dan takes the garbage out of Chloe's hand and ties a knot. Is there a garbage can for this, or should we just ask one of the neighbors if we can throw it out into their apartment? He asks. The thing about Dan's sarcasm is it's meant to alleviate tension, and that's why it never feels mean in any way. I'll take that, Michael says, and then just stands there not knowing what to do with it. Is this the first garbage you had here? Chloe asks. No, it's just that we prefer to visit the incinerator every time we have something to throw away, he says, looking at me as though I should have purchased a garbage can. Oh, you have an incinerator here too? Chloe asks. Zoe and I used to love ours when we lived together. We threw everything away immediately. We never had one bug. We did have fun, didn't we? I say, and then I take the bag from Michael. Let's take the garbage out together for old time's sake, I say to Chloe, but as soon as I take it from him, I can see that it's dripping and it's much heavier than I expected. My back is starting to hurt from standing up. I'll take it, Michael says, reaching for it, but it's dripping, I say. Don't worry, I won't let it stain the rug, he says, and walks out the door. You know, I think I'll go with him, Dan says, which leaves Chloe and me alone with Anita. I guess this is as good as time for a showdown as any. And the fact that I know for sure by the expression on Anita's face that she was somehow involved with those photos makes it all the more interesting. I go and search around for some tea bags, even though I know we don't have any. I'm trying to brace myself for a fight, but suddenly I don't feel well anymore. I've been standing up too much. I lean against the wall and let myself lie down until I'm sitting on the floor. I could go to sleep right here. As I was saying, Anita picks up right where she left off. I couldn't possibly expect either of you to concern yourselves with the magazine's financial situation when you have so many other loftier matters to attend to. After all, money is such an ugly business, isn't it? It depends on whose money it is, I say. Well, regardless if it's mine or some other publisher's, your lifestyle will certainly never be affected. You'll always have your wonderful boyfriend to support you. But what about your sister, she asks me. I support myself. I still have a job, I correct her. And he's not my boyfriend, he's my fiancé. Better yet, did it ever occur to you when you were writing articles about our readers to guess and circle the picture of which little girl in your kindergarten class grew up to be a gold-digging trophy wife who was arrested twice for shoplifting, and that no one other than yourself found your antics amusing? And did it ever occur to you how drastically our whole family's lifestyle could change if we continue to lose our readership and advertisers? Have you no respect whatsoever for the princely empire? Or is it enough for you to entertain yourself with irreverent, meaningless articles about girls who eat their moisturizer? I don't think you should blame everything on Zoe, Chloe says. Really, and why not? Anita asks, amused. If you really cared about the magazine as much as you say you do, you wouldn't just pop in every now and then in between your appointments. Zoe is working so hard at that magazine she can hardly move. She's devoted her entire life to that place, and look how fat she is. No one would dare work in her condition. It's easy for you to criticize what's going on because you're not really a part of it. You just sort of breeze in and out whenever you feel like it. A lot of the problems with the magazine are not Zoe's fault. You would know that if you were there more often. The other editors have made terrible mistakes that have caused 10 times more damage than the stuff Zoe did. I can assure you that Anita knows a lot more about what the editors have done than she'd like us to believe. How dare you two tell me that I should do, or what I know and what I don't know? You're on borrowed time, Miss Chloe. Are you aware of that? The day I tell my son you're out, you're out. And don't you forget it. From now on, the two of you will play by my rules, not Dan's. Our entire reputation is at stake, and so is our family fortune. If you think I'm going to sit back and let you destroy what took generations to build with your articles on girl behavior and hiking boots, you're very mistaken, and don't you even think about blaming any of what's happened on my girls. Your girls? I hate to break it to you, Anita. But your girls are grown women, and the fact that they work for you does not make them yours. However, if there was any doubt in my mind that most of what they've done to me, as well as the damage they've done to the magazine, was under your jurisdiction, it's perfectly clear to me now. The way you defend them is a dead giveaway, and it makes me wonder if, in fact, the magazine is as really much your priority as you say or even think it is. If you really cared about it as much as you claim you do, you'd be grateful that someone came along and gave it a conscience after all these years. You were this close to becoming another Cosmo. I may not have hit the nail exactly on the head just yet, but you now own a magazine with a brain and some integrity. How about a little thank you? Apparently neither of you have any business sense at all. She's yelling, and I guess you could say stomping her feet. The only thing that matters is that you're running a business, is keeping it alive and prosperous. Is that so hard for you to grasp, or are you capable of thinking about anything other than what you're going to wear tomorrow? That last question was obviously directed at Chloe, but I decided to answer it anyway. On the contrary, I rarely think about what I'm going to wear. And it shows, Anita says. I was talking to your sister. I'm doing everything in my power to make the magazine a success with a new editorial, but change takes time and will eventually replace all the advertisers we've lost with new advertisers. But I can't get a whole lot done when every time I turn around, one of your girls is pulling the rug out from under me. The truth is, I understand how far you and your editors were willing to go to see that I got eaten alive at that place. And although I take full responsibility for all of my mistakes, you need to face up to the fact that you played a huge role in your own demise. Whether you agreed with me or not, we'd have been a lot better off if we worked as a team. You're only spiting yourself, Anita, and it's because of girls like you that I came to work at this magazine in the first place. You sacrificed your own success to undermine me. What does that tell you about girl behavior, Anita? If you want the magazine to work with me, not against me, because I'm not going anywhere. The way that magazine operates personifies everything I'm fighting against, and yet it's worse than anything I could have ever imagined. Under normal circumstances, I could have risen to the occasion, but the pregnancy just put me over the edge. Fortunately, I won't be much longer. So don't fight me, Anita, because you stand to benefit the most from my efforts. Well, aren't you just as tough as nails? Who do you think you are telling me to back off? You couldn't possibly know who you're dealing with, Zoe, but you're about to find out. You're right about one thing, though. I will continue to do everything in my power to see that you go down and your sister is going with you. And if the magazine suffers temporarily, then so be it. Because in the end, my own survival depends on it. You may think I don't work, but I work very, very hard. It's not easy being married to a man who despises me, a man who's been having an affair with another woman since the day we were married, but I'll never let him divorce me. I'll fight it to the end. Otherwise, do you know where I'd be? I'd be working like you, two common girls, with bosses telling me what to do, worrying each and every day that I might get fired. I'll never go back to that. I know what it's like to do what you do, believe me, I know. But I managed to rise above it, and if I'm going to let you two put my lifestyle at risk for your so-called ideas. Working isn't that bad, Anita, Chloe says. You make it sound like you'd rather lose your dignity than work. If you know Mr. Princely is having an affair, why don't you confront him or leave him? At least you'll be able to hold your head up. That's even more dignified, don't you think? I think now that you and Dan are married, you can stop calling Dan's father Mr. Princely, I say to Chloe. I only met him a couple of times, though, she says. What do you know about dignity? I'm the only Miss Princely that means anything around here. Do you understand me? I earned that title, and to see you waltz in and grab it makes me sick. My son could have married an heiress, but somehow you roped him. I'll never understand it. You think I wanted to get pregnant at 19, and he stuck at home with a baby at 20? Of course I didn't. And if I was going to model until the age of 25, and then let him put me on the street and tell me to get a real job because I was too old. I didn't have rich parents to fall back on. I knew Dad's father would take full responsibility if he knew he fathered a child, so I got him good and drunk. The rest is history. I had to survive in this world. I had no other alternative, and now I live with a man who's never home. My life depends on staying married to him. If that's not work, I don't know what is, but what other choice do I have? How about secretarial work? Chloe asks. I wouldn't lower myself to that if my life depended on it, but your life does depend on it. As of now, you don't have a life because you were always so afraid of lowering yourself to make one. So you just latched onto someone else's life. You're nothing but a parasite. Don't you see that? And you expect us to feel sorry for you, Anita? It's not the end of the world to work. You were just looking for an easy way out. And you got it. Now you have to live with yourself. That's what you wanted. The sad thing is that you haven't learned anything from your mistakes. You're always driven by money. And where did it get you? And now that you have an opportunity to do something good for a change and perhaps make a difference in the world, you refuse because all it ever comes down to for you is dollars and cents. What I want for this magazine could change the lives of women like you before it's too late, before they become accustomed to being afraid to stand on their own 2 feet. Why can't you see the value in that? Perhaps I'm not making myself clear. Your ideas don't work for women like me. I'm not about to go in there in the men's world and try to compete. Women who think they can conquer the world are fools. Only in 1 million succeeds. I know exactly where my talents lie. My goal is to keep my world intact. Nothing more, nothing less. And I'm willing to go to great lengths to make sure neither of you get in my way. I see harmless and insignificant to you, but so far you've only seen my good side. Chloe, you can stay, because as far as I'm concerned, although Dan used very poor judgment in choosing you as a wife, you can completely innocuous in an office setting. But the day you cross that line is the day you're out. Do you understand? However, as far as you're concerned, Zoe, I want you to resign immediately, and I want you to do it graciously. Use your pregnancy as an excuse if you have to, but make sure your resignation is effective immediately. Is that clear? I'm about to answer her when Dan and Michael come back in, laughing and clapping each other on the back. They always bond whenever Chloe and I are around. A simple trip to the incinerator, and you'd think they spent the night in a strip club. So what'd we miss? Dan asks. Not much, I say. Anita and Chloe and I were just getting to know each other a little better. Chapter 21. In honor of Chloe's first day back at work, we've decided to commute together like we used to. We didn't exactly make it into work the day after my so-called dinner party because I broke out in a full-body rash the next morning and thought I had shingles. But I'm fully recovered now, and there's no way I'm quitting until this baby pops out, whether Anita likes it or not. Now that I'm coming to the end of my 9th month, I've gained another 20 pounds, which brings me to a grand total of 50, but I'm not even done. That's quite a big of baggage when you're under 5 feet, but somehow I managed to roll from one place to the other. It's a great time to be going back to work, though. Zoe's article, Let Performance Footwear Be Your Life Coach, set off a shoe-buying frenzy that had our advertisers lining up in droves. Leave it to my sister. Who would have ever thought that she'd really be able to turn this magazine around? Our last issue broke all records in terms of both readership and advertising, although I still can't believe the focus of our new editorial will actually be Shoes, a Metaphor for Life. I can't deny the fact that Dan's decision to reconsider Chloe's original idea turned our magazine into the talk of the town. I'm so proud of her, I can't allow myself to think about what I'd hoped this magazine would become. It's my dream, but it wasn't meant to be, at least not for now. You'd think Anita would be singing in the streets and finally embracing Chloe after all the success she'd made of this magazine, but she's been nearer to Chloe than ever. And I guess the success of the magazine has never really been Anita's main concern, although she thinks it is. It's all about maintaining her position, and Chloe has clearly moved into the #1 spot. Unfortunately for Anita, Dan is more in love with Chloe than ever, and she's become the most important person in this company. Sadly, the more Anita realizes this, the meaner she'll become, but now that I understand her, how far she's willing to go to maintain her status quo, I intend to take care of everything the only way I know how. Are you ready to face the girls? Chloe asks. As ready as I'll ever be, I say, adjusting my gas mask. You can never be too careful what you're expecting. I wasn't planning to wear my mask to work, but lately I've become totally obsessed with airborne microbes. The effect of my extensions has officially worn off and my carefree days are over, I'm afraid. I guess this is it, she says, and hops out the cab. She walks around to my side and opens the door, expecting me to get out. Do you need a hand? She asks when nothing happens. I think so, I say, trying to locate my seatbelt by my sense of touch. It could be anywhere. After groping around for a little too long, I somehow manage to find it and even unclick it, but I still can't move. You're not even trying, Chloe says. I can tell she's still a little bit annoyed with me about the gas mask. I am so, I protest. Well, then how come you're not moving, she asks. I'm moving, believe me, it's just happening slowly. Take my hand, she says. She grabs my hand and attempts to pull me out with all of her strength. I can almost feel myself budge, but then I realize it was just because the driver took his foot off the brake for a second and Chloe let go. Take those latex gloves off, she says. I can't get a good grip. I can't. They're stuck, and I think my hands have swelled up. She's trying to pull me out by the wrists now with both of her hands, but still something about the way my weight is distributed is making this an impossible situation. Finally, the cab driver puts the car in park and gets out. He tells Chloe to get out of the way and grabs both of my arms and yanks me out. I thank him, but all he does is bat me away like I'm some kind of a nut. What's wrong with people? It's only a little mask. As soon as we enter the building, I get that old familiar nervous feeling in my stomach, and then a new nervous feeling. It was probably just one of those Braxton Hicks contractions. I get them all the time except the last one, a little more kick to it. Chloe rushes ahead of me, and I try to waddle in quickly as possible to keep up with her, but she's really in a hurry. I didn't even get a chance to ask her if she wanted to meet for lunch later. It's almost like she's embarrassed to be seen with me or something. Everyone is staring at me. I knew I shouldn't have worn this t-shirt. You can see my belly button popping out, which is incredibly disgusting, I admit, but I can't fit into any of my cute maternity clothes anymore, especially since I never bothered to purchase any. When I get out of the elevator, the receptionist stands up and screams, "What's the matter?" I yell. She can hardly hear me through the mask. You have to be right next to me to really hear what I'm saying. Why are you wearing that? What's going on?" she cries. She must be a temp. I walk right up to her and say, "There's nothing to worry about. I'm just very pregnant and very afraid of germs." I walk through the halls without causing any other disturbances because it's still pretty early and no one's around. When I walk into my office, I see Amanda is sitting at my desk. She stands up and screams much in the same way that the receptionist did, except this time I feel a huge jolt to my stomach that forces me to sit down immediately. "Help me get this thing off," I call to her, motioning for her to come closer. "I can't take any more screaming. It's scaring the baby." "How do you get it off?" she asks, afraid to touch it. I point to the clip in the back and she releases it and pulls it right off. But then I immediately sense something else that's wrong by the expression on her face. Oh no, I bet I have that hair. "What? Why are you making that face?" "No, it's just that I wasn't expecting you to be a blonde." "Oh, right, I forgot. You haven't seen me since I got my extensions." "Well, it's great to have you back," she says, and for some reason sits right back down in my chair. Amanda, you're still sitting in my chair," I say. "Well, actually, it's my seat now. Anita told me to move in here while you were gone, but I'm back now." "I know, but someone else has my office now, so I have nowhere else to sit." "How about over here?" I ask, pointing to the chair I'm sitting in. "Oh, okay, fine. I'll just move over there then," she says. I don't believe this. Now I have to be with Amanda every second of the day. This is awful. I call upstairs to Alex to say hello, but I know she's not in. She's been away on business, and I'm pretty sure she's not due back until tomorrow. I let it ring about 50 times anyway, just for the heck of it, but there's no answer, so I call Chloe. "Hello, it's me. I just want you to know I took the mask off." "Oh, good. That was embarrassing. So, goodbye. That's it?" "Yeah, I have to go because Amanda is in my office," I say. "Okay, then," she says. "Bye." "No, wait. Maybe you didn't hear me. Amanda is in my office permanently," I mumble. "Why?" "It seems to be her office now, too," I say, hoping she'll call someone in particular. "Why?" "I don't know. I was wondering if Dan would know," I hint. I wonder if this conversation is as awkward for Amanda as it is for me. There's no way to tell because she refuses to look up from the little pad and pencil she's holding. "Gotcha," Chloe says and hangs up. A few minutes later, Dan walks in. It's a miracle. Chloe understood me and did what I needed her to do. "Dan, were you aware that Amanda and I now share an office?" I asked. "No, I wasn't. What's going on?" "This is actually my office now, Dan," Amanda says. "I realized that you were told to use this office while Zoe was gone, but now she's back, so you're free to return to your own office." "I can't. It's being used." "Then come with me and we'll find you a temporary place to put your things until you can set up a new office." "Well, I'm sorry, but Miss Prinsley gave me strict instructions not to leave this office under any circumstances." "Well, I'm telling you that the right thing to do is to come with me," Dan says. "I can't do that," Amanda says. "I don't think you understand, Amanda. This is no longer your office." "Yes, it is. I'm the new deputy editor." "Amanda, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's just not so. I appoint the editors here, and Zoe is deputy editor. I think you need to check with Human Resources then, because Amanda, come with me now, or you'll lose your position in this company entirely. Is that understood?" Dan says. Amanda finally leaves, but at this point I'm so worked up I can't even think straight, and I seem to have left my notes home for the article I wanted to write. I'll just have to try to remember everything. I roll my chair over to the computer and kick the other chair away. I turn to face the screen, which shows an inter-office email from Anita, and it seems someone has been sending an awful lot of emails from my screen name while I've been gone. I click on a few of them to see what I'm supposedly sending. OMG, they're all porn. What the H is going on here? I click back to the email from Anita to see if it's something important. To editorial from Anita Prinsley. Re, staff changes. "I'd like to inform you all that Amanda Cummings will be acting as our new deputy editor in place of Zoe Rose, who will soon be leaving the company permanently to pursue full-time motherhood, although we are all sad to see her go. I would like to advise you not to share any information with her if you happen to see her wandering around our offices. She is very mentally unstable, and I want to make sure no one here is at risk of personal injury. She could be dangerous. Thank you for your cooperation, Anita Prinsley." I forward Anita's email to Dan, who, interestingly enough, is not on the recipient list. Neither is Alex, Chloe, or Rhonda. I guess Anita thought somehow none of them would notice that Amanda replaced me and that I would suddenly just quit when I found out. Apparently, Anita still doesn't understand me very well. I sent the following note to Dan with Anita's email. Dan, perhaps this email that your mother sent around to almost everyone in the office will explain why Amanda felt she had replaced me as deputy editor. I'm sorry to say that I think it might not be a bad idea, as it has also come to my attention that I may be addicted to pornography. At least it looks that way for the emails someone has been sending from my screen name. Regardless of the fact that I may very well be mentally unstable, I'd like to submit this article for you to consider for our next issue. It's not exactly in keeping with our new shoe theme, but I'm hoping we'll be able to at least devote a section at the very end of the magazine to girl behavior, and use this article as our first piece. Anyway, I've been meaning to write this for a long time, and I believe now is an excellent time to publish it. Let's discuss. Speak soon. Zoe, your mother-in-law. Even if she tried to kill you with a poisonous dart, try to be understanding. She truly believes you kidnapped her son. She pictures you pulling up in your sleazy convertible, lowering your dark sunglasses, enticing him with a sultry link and lurid photographs. And because he is weak, he went with you even though he knew it was wrong. Although she is furious with you, for the abduction, she is even more mad at him. He's old enough to know better. She warned him about girls like you. Girls with breasts. Now he has left her with no other choice. She must prepare her case against you. She must convince him and herself that you are not worthy of him. In her mind, she has the right to win him back, and she will use the most peculiar of all girl tactics. She will go so far as to try and make her own son unhappy because she feels he has disobeyed her. She must punish him. After all, she is his mother, and she knows what is best for him. I know you must be wondering, could she possibly have expected him to stay single forever? Is that what she wants for him? Well, yeah. Here's the thing most girls don't understand. The whole time she was raising him, she was getting him ready for her, not you. Why else would she care if he learned to pick up his codes? He was like her little fiancé in training. You just broke off the longest-running engagement ever. If you thought she was going to just hand him over without a fight, you obviously don't remember how many armless dolls every little girl has in her toy chest. Girls don't let go, even at the risk of dismembering loved ones. You must learn to accept her cruelty as an offshoot of her pain. I know it's hard, but it's the only way. Picture this. Force yourself. I promise it will help. It's 25 years ago. There she is in the laundry room doing his laundry. See her coughing? That's because she has bronchitis. Still, she's doing his laundry. See his little pants there in the dirty clothes pile? See how cute they are? Let's take a look inside his tiny pocket. A crumpled up leaf, a rock, and one teensy Lego. What's he got in the other pocket? It's a picture that he drew for her, and she is about to put the last article of toy-sized clothing into the washing machine. She looks at his drawing. It's a picture of the two of them. He drew his arm the length of a fire hose so it would reach hers. They are holding hands. He drew a picture of them holding hands. On the back it says, "Me and my Mo." She is welling up with tears. She is so proud of him, despite the fact that he is a poor speller. 8 o'clock that same night. He is bathed in his Superman pajamas. She has just tucked him into bed, and he is begging her to say, "Don't leave yet, okay?" He whispers. "I'll never leave you," she whispers back, and she puts one hand on his head. She can hear him breathing. She waits for him to fall asleep, and then she tiptoes out of his room. She turns to look at him one more time. He is perfect, and no, she will never leave him. She promised. As the years went by, she couldn't help but notice the subtle changes. His feet were starting to grow at an enormous rate. He started lying to her about just about everything. The Lego is replaced by a condom, and she has to face the fact that her little boy was no longer hers. As much as she knows it's time to let go, part of her will never be able to. After all, she promised. I told you it would help. You could at least give her some of the wedding gifts. Sometimes I think we should all just give our husbands back to their mothers. Boys don't really like being married anyway, and I don't think they enjoy seeing their mothers treat them like they just broke up. The whole concept of marriage is just loaded with opportunities to hurt loved ones, but that's a whole other story. There's nothing more beautiful than the sight of a mother-in-law with her daughter-in-law laughing and hugging as though they were the best of friends. That's what happens when you get a mother-in-law who's a woman and not a girl. She's not competing. She's taking on another child, a daughter. If you get a chance to witness this type of mother-daughter-in-law relationship, remember it and try to recreate it when you become a mother-in-law someday. You won't change your mother-in-law, but you can try to understand her. And more importantly, we can all learn from the girls who grew up to be the kind of women we ought to be. As soon as I finished writing the mother-in-law article, I quickly sent it to Dan and write the following email to Anita. To Anita Prinsley, from your deputy editor, Read, Dan, and Chloe. Zoe came back today, but I don't think she'll be here much longer. She's ready to pop any minute, and I'm afraid you're right about her being mentally unstable. She showed up in here today wearing a gas mask. Poor thing. The reason I'm sending you this long email is because I've been racking my brain to come up with a way to repay you for making me deputy editor. I just thought of the perfect thank you gift. Dan. That's right, Anita Princely. I'm going to help you get your son back. It's true what they say. Chloe does have Dan wrapped around her little finger. But trust me, not for long. I have 3 brothers, and believe me, my mom was not about to give them up for anything. You got all 3 of them back. It was just a girl at the time, but I witnessed all 3 takeovers. She chose a different plan each time, but the good news is they all worked. All you have to do is choose the one that's best for you, and poor Chloe won't know what hit her. Plan A. For this particular method, I recommend a house dress and a pair of old ratty slippers. I know you typically prefer to dress elegantly and sophisticatedly, but that you're particular about fabrics and cut, I am too. But unfortunately what works in the office may not be working for you with your family. I hope you won't take this the wrong way, but you may be coming across as a bit chilly and unattainable. I hope you don't mind me saying that. I'm just trying to help you. True, you always look beautiful, incredibly beautiful actually, but you just don't look enough like a sweet old grandma. You look much too young and pretty, and according to my mom, when a man gets married, he doesn't want to think of his mother as a glamorous ice princess. He wants her to look like the kind of person his children will one day feel comfortable enough to spit up on. You know how it is. Everyone loves a comfy old granny. They're so down-to-earth and approachable. Of course you can wear your normal clothes when Dan's not around, but one of the best ways to convince him that you weren't lying and ruined things for him and Chloe is to immediately switch to pajama mode. No one looks like they have an ulterior motive in a nightgown. A little crazy, maybe, but certainly not cold and calculating. In fact, the more you mess yourself up, the better. I can just hear Dan saying, "How could you possibly accuse my mom of being unfriendly? Look at her in that silly old how dress with the cookie dough smeared all over her face. The poor thing is so gone, why it's impossible not to love her." He'll say those words with tears in his eyes, and that Chloe won't have a chance. If you can't stand the idea of having food on your face, try walking around with only one slipper. If you can't bring yourself to dress down for family occasions, there is always Plan B. Plan B. Start buying Chloe tons of stuff. I mean everything you can think of. Watches, luggage, a diamond bracelet, stationery, new towels, plasma TVs. Keep in mind, big-ticket items work best. Every time you find yourself churning inside over something she said or done, it just drives you crazy. Head for the nearest shopping mall. Plan B works, and the same principle as kill him with kindness, but my mom likes to call it retail revenge. She used this technique on my older brother's wife because that one had a bit of shopping problem. And boy did it work wonders. Just buy, buy, buy. It will make you look like an angel. Start traveling to Paris and Milan on a regular basis. Make sure you buy her things that aren't in our New York City stores yet. You get double points for European goods. This option has a whole department store full of benefits. And the most important one is that you're saying to your son from spending all of his money, can you imagine how much he'll finally appreciate you and how happy Chloe is, and just think of the opportunities for control. You'll look so powerful in his eyes, almost godlike. Of course, if neither of these ideas sound appealing, there's always Plan C. Plan C is the high road. This one involves a good deal of self-introspection, self-discipline, and maturity. Knowing you, you will choose Plan C because I know you are a person with integrity and pride. You do run the risk of giving up some of your power with Plan C, but I'm sure you'll agree that that's a small price to pay to regain the love and trust of your son. With Plan C, the first thing you will have to do is apologize to Chloe for treating her poorly. I know, it's degrading. She certainly doesn't deserve it, but it's for a good cause. Plan C produces a different result than Plan A or Plan B because if you decide to admit you've been playing dirty, the dynamics of your relationship with Dan will never again be based on your desire to control him and make choices for him. This is definitely one of the downsides of Plan C, but I think the benefits totally outweigh the risks. The result of Plan C is that your relationship with Dan will improve almost immediately, but unfortunately on his terms, not yours. Your approval or disapproval will no longer affect him. Another downgrade side, I agree. He will continue to feel entitled to his own emotions, even if they're not the same exact emotions you'd like him to feel. He'll also continue to want to make his own choices and accept his own failures and his own successes. In fact, he'll feel even more entitled to love and protect his wife once you've empowered him to let go of your judgment of his behavior. He may even start saying things to you to prove he's tired of dealing with your ownership issues. He might even tell you to stop making yourself the enemy. I know this is the cause because my mom had this same experience with one of my very own brothers, and although it was hard for her, she chose Plan C anyway. Of course, she's in a psychiatric facility full-time now, but I know in her heart she feels she did the right thing for her son. Although Plan C can be frustrating, it will help you find happiness and peace. Before you know it, you'll realize there are a lot more important things to do with your time than worrying about what Chloe and Dad are doing. Like my mom always says, examine your intentions. Do you want to be loved or do you want to be in control? Once little children realize that the world does not revolve around them, they become enjoyable to be around. And the last thing we want is for our children to think we're behaving like children, right? At least that's what my mom always used to say before, the breakdown. Try to think of Chloe as your own daughter and understand that all she ever wanted was your approval and love. Give it to her. If you let her trust you, you might be amazed at how much closer you'll be with your son than you ever thought possible. If you confide it in your heart to be both of their mothers, then you'll have an even bigger place in his heart, and you'll soon realize that your son has what you've always wanted for him. He has someone who cherishes you, the greatest accomplishment, him. Whichever plan you choose, I'm sure you will choose wisely. Of course, Plan C is the one that seems to deliver a much more realistic and fulfilling relationship between mother and son, but it's your decision. I wish you the best of luck, and I know you will do the right thing. Best, your new deputy editor and friend, Amanda Cummings. I forward my article to Anita from Amanda's screen name and head to the ladies' room. As I'm leaving my office, I spot Try, and oddly enough, he's got the exact same extensions as I do, except his are curly. They look pretty good, curly. Maybe Leonardo was right. Wait a minute. Try, what did you do to your hair? You don't even say hello? He asks, with far too much emphasis on the S and say. I give him a quick hug and feel him recoil. I can't blame him. I didn't look my best. Nice dreads, he says. Dreads? What's that supposed to mean? I quickly grab a big chunk of my hair. I wouldn't exactly call them dreads, but they are a bit matted. I never should have crushed them under my mask. Listen, I gotta run, sweetie. Are you back for good? He asks. Are you gay for good, or are you faking? He hits me on the arm and makes the phone motion up to his ear. Call me, he says, and dashes off. I really have to get to the bathroom now. I keep walking, hoping to make it there in time so that I don't run into anyone else, except there's Blair and Sloane walking down the hall bickering with their newly elongated hair. I never got to see how they looked after they got their extensions. Sloane must be devastated. Hard as she tried, they still came out perfect, and Blair has fashioned hers into an elaborate updo with tiny braids swirling in and out. I pull out my disheveled sticks and make a quick attempt to turn in the other direction, but it's too late. Is that you, Zoe? I thought so. Boy, you look like you're ready to blow any minute. I never got to see her hair all done, Blair says, coming closer. I know, I never got to see yours either. They came out great, I say. Did Leonardo give you yours on sale? There seems to be something wrong with them. Actually, I specifically asked to have mine mangled. And more importantly, according to Anita's email, you girls aren't supposed to be talking to me, so I just you run along and continue fighting somewhere else, I say, and keep walking as fast as I can. It's really difficult, though, because my thighs are ramming up against one another, and it's making it almost impossible. I'm no more than 3 steps away when I hear Blair and Sloane going at it again. I guess Alex's brother completed his assignment as planned. They're at each other's throats, and as much as they deserve it, I can't stand by and listen to them do the very thing I came to this magazine to change. I know I'm going to hate myself for this, but I turn around and walk toward them. You couldn't possibly not have known. I was already seeing him, Blair says. Well, I didn't know, and how could you have him call after you knew I had just spent the night with him? Because I love him, that's why, and for your information, he never loved you. He told me straight out. He thought you had thick calves. Blair and Sloane, can you both come here? I need to talk to you for a moment. I'd come to you, but I'm conserving my energy. There's something I need to tell you. They both turn in their tracks, hands immediately on hips. Listen, I couldn't help but overhear you fighting. And I know you don't agree with anything I tried to do here, but keep in mind that my goal is to prevent the very thing you two are doing at this very moment. Think about what you're fighting over. I mean, really think about it. Is he worth it? Are you willing to give up the thing you two have, that bond, that incredible revolting closeness for some imbecile who doesn't really know either of you? Don't you think you're worth much more to each other than him? They're both carefully considering what I'm saying. They're both still hanging on to the idea that if they play their cards right, things could work out with them. Look, the truth is I can't stand either of you. You've done everything in your power to make my life miserable and destroy what I tried to accomplish here. but I came here for a reason. It was to help girls like you become better people. Why, Zoe? So we'd learn to accept girls like you? Believe me, I've asked myself that question many times. I'm no longer afraid to consider the possibility that it might have been true at one time. But now I know better, and as disappointing as it is to not have been able to teach you anything, I can't let you ruin what you have over some guy who doesn't want either of you. There, now you know. He's not in love with either of you. He's been seeing Courtney, and he's going to break up with both of you. In fact, he's more than seeing her. He's in love with her. That's it. You both lost. Courtney won. It's over. The guy was a jerk anyway. Trust me, I've known him for a long time. They were going to find out eventually. All I did was pull the plug a little sooner. They immediately turned toward each other as allies, and I know I did the best I could considering what I'm working with. They need each other again. I'll warn Courtney of their realignment later. But for now, Courtney's the one who got the guy, so I'm sure she'll be fine with it. And I'm just about to open the door to the ladies' room. Rhonda slips out. I don't believe it. Alex wasn't kidding when she said they all made appointments with Leonardo. You would think he would have pulled at least one other hair color out of his sleeve. We're all clones. Well, look who's back, and look at that. We're practically twins. Leonardo, right? She asks. Something wrong with yours, though. What happened? They got mauled, I say. I was wearing this mask before because, you know, the baby and germs and everything. I understand. Believe me, I'm a fanatic about germs, too, she says and licks her finger to wipe something off her face. The thought of someone else's saliva on my skin makes my stomach turn in a way that I've never quite felt it turn before. In fact, I think I actually heard it turn this time. Actually, when's the baby due? OMG, what are you doing? Are you peeing your pants? I look down. Water is pouring out of me like a gusher. It's amazing that I'm not flying around the room with the release of all this pressure. OMG, OMG, don't panic. But you're gonna have a baby. Come with me, she's screaming. Somebody call 911. Never mind, I will. I can't come with you. I have to go right to the hospital, I say, sounding oddly cool and collected. Wait, she screams. I have to call the ambulance, and you have to stop walking around. You're still peeing or watering or whatever it's called. Call Chloe and Michael and my mom and Dad and Alex, okay? I have to have the baby now. It was nice seeing you again, I mumble. Zoe, please don't go anywhere. I'm calling right now. See? She walks over to some girl's cubicle and pulls the phone out of her hand. Hang up and call 911, she screams at her. The poor girl dies as fast as she can, and Rhonda says, now get up off that chair and take her down to the lobby. This is an emergency. Move. The girl, who I've actually never seen before, walks over to me and takes my arm. Water is still dripping, and for some reason I'm finding it very hard to breathe. I think I'm finally having a real asthma attack, and yet I'm not worried. I know I won't die. I can't die. I'm going to be somebody's mother. Can we take the stairs? I ask her. I'm afraid I won't be able to breathe in the elevator. Sure, okay, but the elevator will be faster. I know, but breathing's more important. Whatever you want, she says. Let's go. I'll meet you in the lobby, Rhonda screams out to us. Whatever you do, don't leave without me. Okay, then, I say. See you downstairs. It's almost like I'm talking in my sleep. The girl opens the door to the stairway and holds it open for me. As soon as I take my first step through the door, I spot the back of Ruth's head, and it looks like she's leaning up against someone, almost like they're making out. And then the other person steps aside, and it's Anita. Anita and Ruth are making out. This can't be happening. But it's all coming back to me now. All that stuff in Ruth's apartment, it was all Anita's. Ruth and Anita are a couple. OMG, no wonder Ruth ever got fired. She's dating the boss. Let's take the elevator instead, I say to the new girl as I slowly back away. What a time for me to go into shock. I've got to stay focused. I see Ruth run down the stairs like a bat out of... She really can hustle when she wants to. Anita comes after me and grabs my arm. Zoe, I know you're upset by what you just saw, but try to control yourself. You're peeing everywhere, she says. I know, what a mess. I hope you can forgive me. I was going to ask your permission first, but since you were making out with Ruth, I didn't want to disturb you. If you dare breathe a word of this, I will ruin you. Do you hear me? I will ruin you. Take it easy, Anita. You can't possibly ruin me. And your love life is your business, and I won't tell a soul what I just saw, under one condition. Ugh, I'm getting my first contraction. I always thought all these women were faking, but it actually hurts worse than anything I ever imagined. I just want to punch someone. Be nice to my sister, okay? That's all I have to say. I'm leaning against the wall, waiting for another contraction, and Anita better not get too close. What do you mean, be nice? Figure it out for yourself, and figure it out fast, or I'll be on the phone with your husband and every gossip columnist in the country. OMG, here comes another one. I gasp and hurl myself toward the elevator. Chapter 22. Every time someone new comes to see me, the nurse finds it necessary to tell me. Like I care. All I want is to get this monstrous thing out of me. I've already bitten the nurse twice and threatened to kill her. So far, she's announced the arrival of Rhonda, Michael, Chloe, my mom, my dad, Alex, and Dan, as though I'm expecting them for cocktails. Why do you keep telling her who's out there? I scream at her. Well, it's just that someone others like to invite their relatives in to share their birthing experience. Do I strike you as someone who likes to share? I scream in her face. Well, it's just that. Shut up. Just shut the H up. The door opens and it's Michael. I told you not to let anyone GD it. Look at me. What did I tell you? Do you even understand English? I holler at her. I'm so sorry, Miss Rose. It's just that your husband... He's not my husband. I don't believe in marriage. How many times do I have to tell you you're probably not even a real nurse? Michael grabs both of my arms and tells me to calm down and to breathe and to stop calling my doctor a nurse. I can't breathe. I'm too busy yelling and screaming, I cry. Then he takes my head and presses it against his chest, and I'm not yelling anymore. I'm not even really breathing that well either, but at least I stopped screaming. Now I'm just crying, and not too horribly either, I must say. He might have actually calmed me down. And I can't help thinking how much I want someone like that for my baby. And then he brings his face right up to mine and he's looking right at me, and it hurts so badly that he's right here and I can't almost get through it. He's crying now too, but he keeps telling me he loves me, and I tell him I love him too, and then he goes and asks me if I'll marry him again, and out of nowhere I scream, yes, 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 and then suddenly it's over. The pain stops and I look down and I can't believe it. I see my baby. It's a girl, Michael yells, even louder than I was yelling before. Then he's kissing me, and then he's holding our little baby, and then hands her over to me. And I don't even care that they're both covered in blood and some sort of white filmy glue. That's how much I love him and how badly I just want to hold her. When did you have time to go out and buy a blanket and this little skater hat? Michael asks the baby. Check her fingers and toes, my surprisingly beautiful doctor says with a big smile on her face. I guess she's used to forgiving people quickly in her line of work. What happened to Dr. Luden? I ask. She's giving birth today too. I count everything and it's all there. And then I look at her face and she goes right back at me. No, more like she's looking through me. And I get chills over my body because it's like nothing I've ever imagined. She looked right into me, as though she knew me, as if she loves me already, and I love her so much I don't know what to do. Her lips are like tiny cherry blossoms, and her skin looks like she's been bathed in a river of pearls. Her eyes are like two little emerald dewdrops. She's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen, and not just because she's mine. I'd be totally objective about something like that. Michael takes her hat off and we both look at each other for a second. I thought babies were supposed to be bald, Michael says. It looks like we've got ourselves a little pumpkin here, he says, and kisses her on the head. Don't ever call her a pumpkin, I say. Why not? I have a thing for redheads. Didn't you know that? And then the baby looks up at him almost the way she looked at me a moment ago, but not quite the same. And one by one everyone starts walking in to see our little girl. A few minutes later I'm sitting up and nursing my baby as though it's the most natural thing in the world, except I've managed to cover my fully engorged mammoth breast, so as not to frighten my father, who's just been crying the whole time and not talking to anyone. I hope my breast doesn't suffocate her. I press it away from her nose so she can breathe, and she looks up at me for a second as if to say thank you. I can't believe we're already talking to each other like this. Look at my wife. Isn't she beautiful? Look at her, Michael says. I don't know. To me, she looks a little swollen. What do you think, Chloe? Rhonda asks. Chloe and Dan come around to hug me, and then Chloe starts feeling all around my head. What happened to your extensions? She asks. I pulled a lot of them out while I was in labor. Is that them? Dan asks, pointing to a clump of hair in the garbage, because if it's not, they gave the baby quite a haircut. Chloe peeks into the garbage and says, Those aren't Chloe's extensions. That hair is brown. That must be the doctor's hair, I say. You pulled her hair out too? Not all of it, but she was really bothering me at one point. I'm so glad I never let my mother talk to me into going to medical school. I was this close, Rhonda says. My mother comes around to sit next to me, and the two of us look down at my perfect baby. She looks exactly like you, she says. I'll never forget the moment I first saw you and the way you looked back at me. It was like you already had so many questions. I look down at my little girl's pink clothes, so my pink cheeks and her tiny outstretched hands, and tell her, Don't you worry, I'm going to protect you and take care of you forever. One day you'll grow up to be a beautiful princess and I'll never, ever, ever leave you. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. It's because Grandma is going to give me one of her special pills. That's right. Aunt Chloe will tell you all about them. I knew it, my mother says. You're already worse than me. At least I never said anything about you becoming a princess. Well, you told me I was going to be a princess, Chloe says. That's different. You'll believe anything, my mother says, and the two of them lock arms. Let's take a walk, she says to Chloe. It's time we have a little talk. Mom, I say, do you really think now is the right time? I mean, what's the rush? She walks over to me and whispers in my ear, I'm not going to tell her about the pills. I just need her to tell her she's pregnant, that's all. They start walking out together, and then I call my mom back in again. Now what? She asks. Tell her it doesn't hurt, okay? I'm way ahead of you, she says, and kisses me and walks out. After everybody leaves and Michael goes out to get us something to eat, I hear a faint knock on the door. It's Alex. She walks in slowly and sits side by of the bed. "Look at that, you really went and had a baby." I turn to show her my little girl and she immediately fills up with tears. "I never saw you cry before," I say. "Me neither. I think it's because I can't believe how much that kid looks like you. And just seeing that hair again," she sniffs. "And before you know it, we're both sitting here crying like a couple of girls. And speaking of when we were little, I brought you know who over here a little present." She hands me a big gift-wrapped box and I ask her to open it for me because my hands are full. Alex carefully unseals this tape and gently pulls off the wrapping paper as though she's afraid to even scratch the box. She refolds the wrapping paper and puts it in my nightstand. I've never seen her handle anything so delicately. Then she takes off the top of the box and reaches in and pulls out a tiny pink and white polka dot dress and holds it up against the baby. "What's that supposed to be?" I ask. "The world's cutest dress or something?" "It's just like mine," she says, only incredibly small." She turns it around to show me the bow in the back, and then she sort of twirls it back and forth to show me how it works. "I hope she has better luck with this than I did," she says, wiping her eyes. "How could she not?" I asked. "She has you and me on her side." "True, and besides, this is a much nicer dress." She's right about that. This dress is beautiful and sweet and simple. It's exactly the kind of dress I want my little girl to wear. I want to hug Alex, but she's not really the type, but then she puts the dress back in its box and comes over and hugs the baby and me. "Oh wait, I have something else too. I almost forgot. It's a magazine related, but you might want to deal with it now," she says and hands me a manila envelope. She's right, I'm too exhausted to open it, but we end up talking about the magazine anyway. The dress is beautiful and sweet and simple. It's exactly the kind of dress I want my little girl to wear. I want to hug Alex, but she's not really the type, but then she puts the dress back in its box and comes over and hugs the baby and me. "Oh wait, I have something else too. I almost forgot. It's magazine related, so you might not want to deal with it right about now," she says and hands me a manila envelope. She's right. I'm too exhausted to open it, but we end up talking about the magazine anyway. She asks me how I'm dealing with the new editorial, and I try to explain that I'm disappointed that I couldn't get my message out there, but at the same time I'm happy for Chloe, and I know I'll find another way somehow. I look down at my baby, knowing this is my chance to get this girl thing right, once and for all from the very beginning. "Now that there are two of us, who knows what we'll be able to accomplish," I say, yawning and looking down at her. "Three," Alex corrects me. I put my head back, and a moment later I feel myself dozing off. After a little while, I feel Alex slip the envelope under my blanket. I open my eyes slightly as she takes the baby out of my arms and places her gently in her little portable bed. I whisper thank you and close my eyes again. I hear her footsteps and the door closing. It's just me and my little girl now. Chapter 23. I'm looking in the mirror for what might be the 80th time this morning, and I've come to the conclusion that I have to do something about my hair. I can't keep dyeing the roots blonde with my home hair color kits. It would be great if I could just go back to Leonardo and you, and I could never show my face there again. Not after the way I ripped all those extensions right out of my head with my bare hands. The men will think I'm an animal. I finally resigned myself to call a new salon, but I have to do it quickly, while the baby is still sleeping. Chloe keeps insisting I go to see this woman, Louise Galvin, at the John Barrett salon. So I call and make an appointment. They tell me I can come in today because they just got a cancellation, which is perfect, because there's no way I could possibly forget that. Unfortunately, I have no one to watch the baby. I try on a couple of outfits, but the baby keeps shaking her head no. She keeps insisting that I wear the pink and white polka dot dress Alex bought for her. She wants me to wear it whenever she's not wearing it, but for some reason I can't make her understand that I can't fit into a size 18 months. Although I'm getting there, fortunately all that weight just fell right off. By the time Alex 5 or 6, we might actually be able to share a few things. I finally put on the other outfit that she likes. Chloe's old corduroy skirt, a white t-shirt, and the new black boots she and Chloe forced me to buy. They're not really me, but what do I know? When I'm all dressed, she says, "Look at me." That's our little signal that I look okay. Actually, that's her signal for everything, and now that she's officially picking out my clothes, I think it's time I stop referring to her as the baby. It's such a derogatory term. Louise Galvin, just as I imagined, is absolutely gorgeous and she's dressed to perfection. I'm not surprised to learn that she has her own line of products, some of which she's carrying as she walks toward me. The woman has everything. Her salon is based in London, but she flies to New York every few months for special clients, people like me, whose hair is hopeless. I've already mentally committed myself to buying all of her products because she represents everything I believe in. She's strong, independent, not afraid to take on a traditionally male-dominated industry, and she's already made quite a name for herself, not to mention her long, blonde, perfectly straight hair, which I'm hoping comes in one of those bottles she's carrying. Louise agrees to look after the baby for me while I go change. When I come back out, I can see that my daughter is walking around, stealing brushes and combs from each of the stylists and sticking them in the waistband of her skirt, saying, "Look at me!" I should really teach her to say something else when she's stealing. As soon as she's seated on my lap in front of the mirror, my daughter's whole demeanor changes. We're both staring at ourselves, completely mesmerized. She points to my reflection in the mirror and says, "Look at me." "I am," I answer her. The resemblance is so uncanny in this light. "So what are you thinking?" Louise asks me. "I'm thinking that I can't believe how much my daughter looks like me, and I also can't believe the condition of my hair. What do you think?" "Well, I was thinking the same thing, and also that you have a strikingly beautiful daughter." I look down at her to see if she heard Louise, but she's too busy staring at herself with her big green eyes as wide as saucers. It must be great to be a little kid. You can look at yourself in the mirror for hours without anyone thinking you're being conceited. I also think that part of the reason your daughter is so beautiful is because her hair color complements her eyes and skin tone. "So what are you suggesting?" I ask, afraid that I'm about to have to politely leave. "I'm not ready to suggest anything specific just yet. I'm just saying that if I were you, and I'd been born with your hair color, I'd have been very grateful, that's all. Being a redhead is somewhat unique, don't you think? Sort of a gift. And it's my absolute favorite color. I've done at least 6 redheads today, but I could never match yours or your daughter's color. There's nothing I could offer any of my clients that comes close to the beauty of absolutely, totally natural red hair." And then she leans closer to me and says, "And what I wouldn't give for those incredible curls." Fool that I am, I'm totally buying it, the whole thing. I look at my daughter, still staring at herself in the mirror, totally astonished by her own appearance, and I suddenly want to kick myself for wanting to change, the very thing that makes us so much alike. About an hour later, my hair is dry and very curly, and it actually looks a little longer than before, and she seems to have matched my natural hair color perfectly. I can't remember the last time I looked in the mirror, and didn't wish I had darker skin. I'm a redhead, and that's all there is to it. My daughter kisses Louise goodbye, and as much as I hate to admit it, I want to kiss her too. She has no idea what she did for me. Chapter 24. You really need to come over soon and see all these packages I've been getting from Anita lately, Chloe says. Have you opened any of them? I ask, holding the phone between my shoulder and ear while I put the finishing touches on my most recent painting of my daughter. The apartment is filled with them. Every inch of the wall space is taken up. We might have to get a bigger place if she keeps coming up with new poses. Are you kidding? Of course. I got a Mulberry bag on Monday, a Cartier watch on Tuesday, and a tiny pair of diamond and pink sapphire earrings on Wednesday. The UPS man and I are like best friends now. Sometimes he even hangs out for a few minutes while I open my package. I never would have guessed Anita would suddenly start liking me so much. I asked her why she keeps sending me gifts out of nowhere, and she said it's her way of showing me how important I am to her. Dan told me to give them back, but I don't think that would be very polite, do you? Absolutely not. Don't listen to Dan. The last thing you want to do is get on her bad side again while she's trying so hard to show you how much she cares, especially since it took her so long to get with the program. Exactly. I mean, I feel terrible about all this, but what can I do? Oh wait, here he comes again. I have to run. Come visit soon so we can try on all the new clothes she keeps sending me. And when you talk to Dan, make sure you tell him you talked me out of giving everything back, okay? I'm totally with you on this one, believe me, I say, and we hang up. Who would have ever thought Anita would go for Plan B? Chapter 25. Michael has been waiting downstairs for at least 20 minutes, but I can't seem to get anything organized. We're going to visit Chloe and Dan. We were supposed to leave an hour ago, but a certain someone keeps pulling everything I'm packing out of the bag. I'm almost regretting the fact that I encouraged her to learn how to walk, and she keeps eyeing the stairs up to the loft, as though she's devising some sort of a plan. I'm sure I'm just being paranoid. She'd never be able to figure out how to open that gate. Still, I can't leave her alone for a second without her wandering off to change her clothes. For some reason, I can't find her pearls. If she finds out I lost them again, she'll kill me. Look at me, she yells from the other side of the room. The versatility of that one phrase is just astounding. No wonder she doesn't bother to learn anything else. I'm a little worried, though. I think I was reading at her age. She's trying on my new bra now. Anyone can see she's got an eye for fashion, particularly in the area of which bras should be worn over rich dresses. I tear open my bag to throw in a box of pretzels, and check one more time for those darn pearls. I grab her favorite blush brush and her pink sponge curlers and zip them in a plastic bag, and I grab a handful of pamphlets I had just printed up for my latest project. I never go anywhere without them, and she never goes anywhere without her curlers. You'd think she would have realized by now that she's just preaching to the choir with those things in her curly hair. I'm trying to get a group of mothers together for my new self-defense workshop, which demonstrates how to render an attacker unconscious with nothing but a few distracting hand motions in a stroller. But so far, no one has showed up for any of the meetings. And surprisingly, I haven't gotten any names on my sign-up sheet for Mothers Against Everything either. Funny, I had that one pegged for standing room only. I grabbed a few more pamphlets and a handful of diapers and tossed them into the bag, which knocks over her juice cup, which spills out over everything. I take everything out and run the coat closet to get my old baby bag down from the top shelf. I haven't used this bag since I brought her home from the hospital. I transfer everything to the new bag, and just as I'm about to zip it up, I spot something coming out of the side zipper. It's the envelope Alex brought me in the hospital. I never got a chance to read it. It's been in this bag all this time. I take it out of the bag and slip it under my arm so I'll remember to open it in the car. Then I look down and see that she found her pearls. "Look at me," she says, and points to herself and runs away, which means she's going to hide. Good, go hide, but make sure you stay somewhere in this room. Once I'm all packed up, I zip up the bag and take my keys off the hook and run to the door. I take the stairs instead of the elevator to save time and run out to the curb waving to Michael. "See, I told you we'd only be a few more minutes. I think you forgot something," he says. "Right," I say, and open the back door to throw in the bag and envelope from Alex. I slam the door and run back into the building. I run back up the stairs, and then I remember I threw the apartment key in the bag. So I run back downstairs, open the back car door, got the keys out of the bag, and run back up the stairs. I unlock the door and yell, "Okay, you can come out now, we're leaving," but she doesn't answer me. I start frantically calling her and searching everywhere until I hear, "Look at me." I look up and there she is standing at the top of the loft of stairs, wearing a pair of high heels my mom gave her to play with a few weeks ago, and then I relive my worst nightmare. She comes tumbling down the steps, hitting her head on each and every one. I run over to her, but I can't speak. I pick her up in my arms and hold her so tight she lets out a little squeal. And then she looks up at me and points to herself and says, "I love Mommy." Just like that, like it was no big deal. And then she wriggles away from me and turns around to go back up the stairs. She's not even crying. She doesn't care that she just fell down a flight of stairs, or that she just reached into my chest and grabbed my heart and ran up the stairs with it, or that there's an excellent chance I'll never get over what she just said to me. "No, stop," I scream. But she just looks at me and points upstairs and says, "New shoes!" I'm so glad I wasn't playing with a Tonka truck this time. I pick her up and run up the stairs with her. I tell her to pick up another pair of shoes to try on in the car, but apparently none of my shoes qualify as a toy, so I let her bring my mom's high heels. Then I run back down the steps, holding on to her for dear life, letting the tears run right down my face. I can't wait to tell Michael what she just said. She loves me. Once we've settled in and on our way, I turn around and reach for the envelope in the back seat. I open it up and start reading. "Dear Editor, I've never written to a magazine before. I've always worked until at least 9 o'clock every night. My husband and I have always traveled quite a bit, which leaves me very little time for idle correspondence. Throughout our marriage, my husband and I appeared to have a perfect life. We had an amazing apartment in the city, a spectacular beach house, tons of parties, great friends, an enormous amount of stuff. Just to give you an idea of how much stuff we had to buy the apartment next door to ours to use exclusively for closet space. I've always been considered beautiful. My husband and I both modeled quite a bit before he became an actor, and then a director. I also owned my own cosmetic company for 5 years and eventually launched my own packaging company. We were the couple I'd always dreamed of becoming. We had absolutely everything we were supposed to have. So why was I so unhappy? I'll tell you why. It's because all my life I've been hurting people. I hurt people to get the money I needed to buy my company. I hurt friends who no longer interested me when a more socially interesting or better connected friend came along. And I seduced my husband into falling in love with me, even though he was dating my best friend at the time we met. I've always chosen my friends for all the wrong reasons. I only associated with people who I'd be proud to introduce. And what made me proud? Looks and money. I still have no idea, to this day, what qualities I'm supposed to look for in a friend. I was brought up to only surround myself with people of influence. My mother gave me very explicit instructions to marry money, and I never, ever disobeyed my mother. Her life exemplified everything I was supposed to want, and I was determined to live that life. I've never really had a friend, in the true sense of the word, now that I look back. I was always the most popular girl in school, but spent most of my time making sure my friends never got too close to one another. Their boyfriends liked me more than they'd like them. I had this incredibly intoxicating power over everyone because I looked exactly the way they wanted to look, and I had everything everyone wanted. Deep down, we all hated each other. We thrived on envy. And yet, I thought this was normal. As long as people admired me, why should it matter that I was miserable? I've contributed nothing to this world unless I knew it could benefit me somehow. I never thought about this before. Never. I was just living my life the way I thought I was supposed to live it. And then one day, about a year ago, I picked up a copy of your magazine on a plane and read a letter from the editor about a girl whose best friend in second grade only had one dress, and how everyone made fun of that little girl because she was dirty and poor and different. And I cried for the first time in 20 years because I once knew a girl just like that. I remember her perfectly because I teased her more than anyone, and I wasn't happy until I made sure everyone else was making fun of her too, and yet she never cried. She held her head up high as she walked into school, day in and day out, in that same pathetic torn dress, and I wondered how she dared keep coming back. But now I understand. She knew she wasn't hurting anyone, and so she had nothing to be ashamed of. But I, who had everything, live with the shame every day of my life because of the way I've always treated people like her. It took me a long time to bring myself to write this letter. I realize it may never get read, but I couldn't live with myself if I didn't at least try. The day I read that letter, I became a different person. I made the decision to sell my company. I told my husband, who I couldn't even look at anymore, that I wanted to leave him, and I walked right out of my perfect life. I walked away from my fabulous water views, my precious antiques, my beautiful cars, my so-called friends. I no longer needed the right address to obsess about my looks, my weight, or my possessions, because I have something to live for now that has nothing to do with appearances. I'm trying to get my soul back each and every day. It's a struggle, I can't deny that. I have to retrain my thinking in every possible way. I have to try to look for qualities in people that I know I should value, even though I don't quite feel it yet. I have to sit there and really think before I buy something, because until now, I never even knew what I liked. I only bought what I was taught was in good taste. I have no idea what my own taste is. Of course, I'm afraid that once I discover what I really like, it might very well be in bad taste, but at least I'll know who I am. I've now gone back to school to study what I've always wanted to study, and I'm raising myself all over again, this time with my own values, not my mother's. And for the first time in my life, I can walk with my head held high, just like that little girl in the dirty pink dress, because for once in my life, I know I'm not hurting anyone. So if you're out there, Allie, I just want to say I'm sorry. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Sincerely, Karen Westman. Thank you for listening to Misunderstanding. By Stephanie Lessing. I loved this book since the first time I read it. I've read it quite a few times. I think I purchased it back in like 2000. I don't know, whenever Twilight was coming to theater. Like that was around the time that I bought it. And I know that because my sister was really crazy about Twilight, and we went to the bookstore one night. She was going to meet some other Twilight fans, and I was going, and I just wanted to look at the fiction section, like just general fiction. And that book jumped out at me, and I believe it was that night, like one of those nights that my sister was doing her meet up with Twilight fans, that I picked up that book. And it like, I had this sort of thing at the time where I would buy a book, and sometimes instead of keeping the book after reading it, I would go back to the Barnes & Noble and I would get money back on the book, and then I'd turn around and buy another book. And in my mind, I was thinking, even if I return it to the store, I'm still, like, they're still getting their, like, just about $14. They're still getting that because I'm still putting it back into Barnes & Noble. So I'm keeping Barnes & Noble going, and with that, well, not keeping it going, like, I know I don't have that much responsibility to Barnes & Noble, but what I mean is I'm keeping the $14 going. I'm still anyway, but I don't usually do that anymore. Usually these days, if I really like a book, I'll just keep it. And if I don't, I'll just take it to a used bookstore and try to get trade credit or something on it. But that's one that I decided that I definitely wanted to keep and not take back. So I've had it all these years, and I've read it multiple times, and I love it. I actually really love the character Courtney. I feel like she's very, I mean, something about her character, I mean, she is very, like, she cares a lot what people think, but she's also super sweet. Kind of like the character Chloe, but anyway, but most of the characters I really like, anyway. Anyway, thank you for listening. If there were any parts of this book that were your favorite, just let me know.